Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, y'all? Yeah, back to another series of the Embrace of Being an Independent Thinker. And basically, I'm just going to say, like, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. And back at this Monday series. So, as you could tell, we can have power. But, yeah, I'm going to check something real quick. Let me check something real quick. Let's see, my audio is doing good. Yeah. Okay. So y'all can hear me, huh? Okay. Turn it down. But I'm just gonna put this out here. Let me get set up. Let me get set up. Let me get set up real quick. I'm gonna set this up real quick. So it's a little different, but oh shit. Damn, I done tweaked it or something. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's the headset. Oh shit. Yeah, it happens sometimes. Damn headset. Fucking monitoring. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just a little flabbergasted. And let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I was a little muffled right quick. Let's see. Let's get this going. What's going on, Shar? Yeah. I was a little muffled real quick. All right. This is an interesting series. As you can tell, we're gonna expand on what we're gonna talk about. But yes, I will get into the infamous report by special someone, the Grandmaster. So y'all give me 1 second and I'll be right back. I'm going on mute and I got the information, I got the link and things like that. But I'll expound on that later. What's going on? New salute. Yeah, I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, being an independent thinker is a good thing, and sometimes you got to focus on different things. Tonight, I'll talk about this infamous report around I believe, the 40-minute mark, and I'll get into it. But yeah, all my series is based off last year. It all started in the summer. Um, I'm gonna run these down on my channel on my phone, so in case people don't know, I got a playlist right here. Let me look at it for real quick because this is kind of stem. I knew what was wrong was my headset. It was like half unplugged. I had to pop it in there, and that's one thing I hate about these damn things. They just always want to, I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't even hear the puff. Boom. But and it was the headset. So I had to pop it in there, and I said, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "My audio's good," but I said the headset I couldn't even hear my monitoring. Okay, so embracing being an independent thinker, that's number one. I forget who was on that. That was an old one. That was like 4 hours long. We talked about various things. This is before I even had the gear and everything. I was like, that was last year. I was like around the summertime, something like that, spring, summertime, something like that. And I was on my thing then transition to different content, even if it was the same, but it was a little different. But the second one was the same thing. It was an hour, it was short. That was the last pit, and then I left it alone for a while before I had upgraded the audio and aesthetics of my content. That's what I did. But the third one was I believe Rashawn was on the second one, I believe. Yeah. Oh, known as the only ghost right now. But the third one, it was a review. I was responding to what I used to say back in when the channel was getting, some little growth and things like that. And also, that was the third one. But the fourth one, same thing, same concept. I had a different avatar then. I was playing with it. That was 3 hours long. I think that was with Joey, I believe. And yeah, one of my controllers done died on me. And then I think that was the third one or the fourth one. I think it was the fourth one. Both of the last two, the third one and the fourth one were 3 hours long. One was 28 minutes. That's the third one, and the fourth one was 3:42. Okay, the last one was 7 hours. That's with Charles, the advisor, Dr. Doom Dre, the Palace of Petty himself. He was on that panel, and it was a lot of people. That was a good stream. And yes, you got the BGS pupil doing his silly shit as usual. He was on the 7 hour one. That was a good one. It's from the third one all the way through number 6 right now are Monday streams. I made a series out of them, and that's the thing. So let's see who's in here. Third Warlord Colombian. Salute. Long live the villain sphere. Always be free thinking. Never get involved in echo chambers full and influence misled sheep. Exactly. Facts. Absolutely. Because I hate it. Too many echo chamber idiots out here. But you got a lot. Sad but true. And War of Patrician is here. So I'm not typing anything in the chat, so I'm just put this on. Yeah. Yeah. Salute to the captain. The Captain Ghost. And that's what we got here. I'm not rushing into it. And I'm just keeping it and I'm not dropping it down yet. Just give me some time. I gotta read something real quick. That's it. It's 6 series. The next one will be not next Monday, but the Monday after next. I will think about it because I gotta set my schedule up when I do streams and things like that. But I'm moving in the right direction. That's the whole point of the series. Don't be an echo chamber. If you become an echo chamber, it becomes a real problem with people relying on you. So that's the whole thing about me looking at it now. And you got a lot of echo chambers a lot around in these black spaces, white spaces, and YouTube spaces in general. It's pathetic. I mean, ever since live streams, you got so many echo chambers. My shit is not an echo chamber. I try not to be, but I do various things, and I allow various people to talk on these type of topics, especially the open discussions. But the one on Wednesday, that's just my topic. I don't have to have an open panel on the Wednesday streams. I usually go in on the studies, but if you want to discuss it, we'll go there. That's about damn near it. I'm not really mad about the situation. So that's the whole point of yeah. I didn't mean to hit that. Shit. But that's okay. I didn't mean to hit that. Oh, that didn't get into the recording. But yeah. Basically, I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, you don't want that echo chamber to be your end all be all thing. So I had to, I wasn't thinking when I saw that. I was like, oh, my phone was charging and shit. But I'll see it later. But yeah. That's the whole point. So in so many terms, you can tell what's going on. But yeah, you try not to be the echo chamber. But the whole purpose when I did it, I think the first 2 was around the summertime and the spring. I believe spring or summertime, something like that. I don't remember as much. Probably around those times. And I was thinking about something. I was doing different content then and try to get away from the basic echo chambers and shit like that. We was all going through it and carving our own shit. And it took us months. And then the Villain Sphere was like a running joke around the summer when I got my gear and stuff, and especially in the fall. And when DeAndre came, that shit changed forever. I'll say summer and fall. Around the fall or something like that. Oh, yeah, that's when it was a good year. And then Cerulean came in the fall, later fall. And when it got cold, yeah, that was a whole nother story. And he's been cerebral ever since. A lot of people just couldn't hang. And I was looking at my content, it was beautiful. But I'm glad that Sunday Madness, the second one, I think it was on November. That second one was a big hit. Put me over the top, and I understand my content is going where it needs to be. What's going on, Tone Malone? Salute, salute. And like I said, it took me to the next level. And then I started upgrading later in the next month. So yeah, I've been on fire lately. Yesterday's streams was excellent, but tonight it's gonna be one of those streams that we're gonna talk about real shit. How to look at different things. But this infamous report we're gonna read on the 40-minute mark before I even show you and things like that. Because you got a certain individual, Grandmaster, I'm gonna say if it's relevant today, and I'll get into it. So I've yet to find certain links. I'm gonna read it off to you, and I know people want to talk about the Negro family. To me, it's kind of irrelevant at this point. So is it relevant? I'm just saying in so many words. So as I'm saying is this the whole point of studying it for long-term purposes? Because you got the younger generation don't really care at this point. And I'm just going to look at certain things and see what they are. So that's about it. That's about it. So, and then I'm going to get into certain research, but I'm not going to break down a lot of things. So, you know what I mean? And they have their little own spokesman. And, and that's the years that you come in and things like that. So, and that's just what it is. And that's just how you're gonna look at it in so many words. So that's it. But and that's one thing I can say. We're gonna talk about it later on. So when you have so many echo chambers, a lot of people they just want to get in and just go crazy. What's going on, Malik? Salute, peace and blessings. But like I said, when you have these type of topics, you want to just expound on things that matter, right? And that's the whole purpose of having these type of topics. So many people just have these echo chambers and they're crazy, and they'll say outlandish stuff like we seen last year and this year. And I think this is one of the reasons that we kind of stop what's going on, right? So the whole purpose of us taking us to the next level is like, you just got different thoughts and different hobbies. What's going on, G? Salute. And that's just what I'm saying. Like when you see these things, it becomes the norm, right? I'm just saying what's bothering me from last year, I had to deal with a lot of bullshit with certain individuals I had to cut off. And this year I'm focused on myself. I'm going back to the days of what I used to do on content now. Having new gear is nice and everything, but this enhances everything else. I can go back to my old shit like I used to and just be consistent. It's not really that simple until you gain that traction again. So the algorithm is working in nicely, but in areas it works for you. So, like I said, some people have different tastes, some people have different looks, and I've noticed like when I see topics relate to I think was it the overall overrated relationship topics or topics that deal with mediocre philosophies like feminism and shit like that. That's irrelevant, to be honest with you. It's damn near dead. That's not true. It's bullshit. A lot of it's bullshit because this is the bullshit I'm talking about. That's that utilitarianism talk. That's what it all stems from. I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of that shit came from John Stuart Mill and things like that. But a lot of these dudes do not speak on the end-based philosophy where they get it from. You know what I'm saying? Like men create that. Like I said, women create that. That's bullshit. Men create that. Weak men create that. And this is why they don't want to challenge it. And my issue with it is all bullshit, period. If you want to get technical with philosophies and do the proper research, you know where it stems from. It's a cry out for help. Even the gynocracy talks are bullshit. None of you motherfuckers ain't gonna do nothing about it. This is why I had to talk about anarchy this Wednesday. Break down everything. A lot of you don't want to change that drastic change. It's a good piece. I'm gonna research. I'm gonna research it thoroughly, and I'm gonna say, what are you gonna do to move forward? And that's the problem. So my channel is a little bit of solution based, give you options to think, get you to think um, practical, what works. And if it doesn't work for you, this ain't for you. It ain't for everybody. But I'm just saying, but you have your options. I mean, I agree with you on some things, and we may not agree on everything. But one thing I can say, I'll give you a solution that it works. It depends on where you are at and then the stateability, what's going on. But solutions do help. Solution is not sitting on our ass, not doing shit. I don't give a fuck about that. There's always solutions. Anybody saying ain't no solutions, you're out your fucking mind. Because that shit is a bunch of circle jerk bullshit I've seen every year. I'm so tired of it. And this is why YouTube ain't shit. It's why people don't think straight. This is why they don't have critical thinking skills. And you lack it because y'all don't do the proper research. That's why you got so many goddamn echo chambers about the same old bullshit from mainstream manosphere. And I'm so fucking tired of it, man. That's why I say fuck all of it. This is why the villain sector is a counter to the shit. And I've noticed something over at Arts. Art had the white boy, Ragnarok, right? I would have just blocked his ass. I wouldn't waste my debate on the dumb Canadian like that. I'm sorry. Fuck a Canadian. I'm just being 1000 with you. They can't teach me shit about systems. Period. That's what's wrong with niggas, man. I've been saying this, and me and Jay Sean agrees. I don't fuck with dumb niggas, man. That can't think for themselves. That color shit's dead too. I get it, but you niggas is stupid for listening to white boys. They don't give a fuck about you. They can claim they're your brother. They may sound black and all this stuff. They don't give a fuck about you. I'm from the South, bro. They don't care. You're by yourself. You're isolated. You cannot have a society full of bitch motherfuckers that ain't really about that shit. And I kind of agree with BMT when he said that, but actually he's talking about himself. Everybody's talking about themselves at that point. I can't take none of you seriously. This is not about changing the community. It's about changing your mind first, and then you build your shit. I mean, your job is nice, but what are you going to do to change others around, like the youth? I'm not caring about my generation. This is why I try to tell Kudas behind. That shit don't work. It's the only a select few that I'm here for. I'm not here for the majority. And I try to tell them that, like, the youth is going to listen who they're going to listen to, because my shit's paramount long term. Once I leave the shit alone. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you got to be who you are. Basically, I'm just saying like this. You cannot rely on it so much. And I think me and Neymar talked about this yesterday, and I felt like that's a good string to talk about. And we talked about various things. I was doing a comeback and things like that. So, in so many words, you have so many efforts coming along with. So, I'm saying this: when you have a majority of fucking idiots that love echo chambers, they spew the same old bullshit I've heard about 15 years ago and prior. It's the same old shit. No solution, no change. And that's the thing that you need. The problem is you got to change what happens to you if you move forward. So, in so many words, I'm just saying that you got to have many things to put forth. And I think one of the reasons why we don't have no solution in hobbies, we're not thinking straight clearly. Like, critical thinking is a must. I was trying to tell this to Rogish last Friday, and I said, he tried to say ain't no solutions. And I said, bullshit. There is a solution. The solution is stop giving a damn. Stop fucking with the same talking points. I mean, we all use the same talking points. We're all guilty. Even myself, I'm guilty, right? Stop with the bullshit. And just create, creating your own talking points is cool, but someone's going to steal them eventually. They say it on air. Like, what's the point? I don't get mad when people take my points. I don't invest in this shit like that. It's not an investment. It's just knowledge. What you do is you give it to the people that's needed. See, when I hear young guys like the pupil, known as Pookie Truth and them, right? The hammerhead R2D2 motherfuckers. Guys like that. And GMOs and them, not GMO, but JMOs, them type motherfuckers, those millennials, right? out here in these certain spaces in y'all's manosphere space, because we're the villain sector. We don't support that. We are our own shit. When I hear bullshit, what they be sounding like, they're typical Z's. They have some knowledge, but they're not that bright. Like they haven't lived a little bit. I lived in a time you had to read books. You had to pay attention to certain details, and you challenge people. When you challenge people off the block, you challenge people on the streets, actually with knowledge and books. I used to do that in the barbershop. I used to quote Bible scriptures prior in my early 20s, even prior to that. And outside of that, I did a research by book in hand, library. I had notes, sometimes the internet a little bit, because the internet wasn't great back then. Okay. There wasn't a lot of information. It was added on later on. Live is online on ebooks and Amazon and all that shit. Right. But it's hard to find a book that's going to teach the youth like things like that. I'm from them, future wise. I'm not talking about now when they're little. I'm talking about when they get to be 15, I would say in the 20s, like 24, 15 to 24, because YouTube requires when they're 15 to 24 or 18 to 24. I'm talking about that crowd. That crowd is the one you need to reach. And the reason I'm saying when they get to our ages, they're going to know when they listen to content like this or anywhere else, or this gets find somewhere or lost somewhere, they're going to realize I was telling the truth, that you got to think for yourself. When I was their ages, I was learning that. Even my struggles and my depression at that time, I was moving forward and moving things around life. So basically, I'm saying to y'all is have the content to back it up. It took me a minute. It took me a long time to understand what was going on in the future of the world, even in tech. My uncle said this. He said, somebody got to control the machines. Somebody got to control them. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. And I'm just saying, like, in so many words, you got to realize a lot of people ain't focused on the real things. They focus on the frivolous shit that I've seen a lot. And that's the thing. And that's just what it is. And that's just that's what I've seen. The problem is with people when they get to echo chambers, they get isolated on bullshit topics. Like I'm so tired of hearing them, and this is why I don't do panels anymore, because I'm strictly for probably this month. Next month, I may help Gino out if I become a panelist on that. I'm just gonna go with the ones in my circles. That's it. But I'm done going to everybody else's panels. Period. The reason being, I'm just not gonna participate that. I'm gonna kill all that and just do straight content, because I already got enough info on what the space is about. I did that for like 2 years. It was great, but this shit, it ain't worth it. If it's people that I mess with and subscribe to, support, yes, maybe. Shouts out to the For Record TV. I can go on theirs freely. That's a good one. But if they do their thing, if it's a good conversation, sometimes I don't be on there as much because I'm doing other things and things like that. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Because I'll be in the chats listening to people's content and things like that. But eventually, I'll be on panels if I want to. If they ask me to come up, I'll come up. But I'm not going to stay long. You know what I mean? I did that over at Arts last year, early of this year, of last year. And even 2020, I used to be like that. But once I became a content creator again and came back in 2021, I said, you know what? I'm not doing this shit. I'm going to host my own shit and just dominate the rest. Because February, I'm going to talk about some real shit about Black History Month and what I think about it and how goofy it sounds, the certain things. And it's very distracting. I got a whole catalog of dark history streams and shit and content y'all can look at. So I'm not going to waste my energy arguing with niggas on here. They're useless on here. I learned that decades ago. And I stand on what I said. It's 24 minutes in. I'm going to keep going until the 40-minute mark, and we're going to talk about this special report. I'm going to switch gears in a minute, but I'm just going to rumble and ramble a little bit and see what I'm talking about, because you got a lot of people that's stuck in their echo chambers and thinking they have all the answers, and they really don't. They be on some bullshit. So basically, I'm just saying like this. If you want to be a decent content creator or a good content creator, and I told this to Red, like stick to the topics that you know. long term you'll get subscribers, and it takes time. It becomes evergreen with you. See, the evergreen flow, what I talk about is, even I go outside in the backyard and chill and get my mind rest. It's therapeutic. It's like therapy. What I do is I come up with random topics, see what's going on outside the world. I do go outside and meet people and things like that. I don't have no issue. I don't have to show and prove like that. I don't need to. I can talk to my neighbors across the street if I want to. And I chose not to because at least I'm doing something with content. It's YouTube. YouTube doesn't require you to show all that. This ain't a show and prove show. This is content. If people watch, if they don't, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about random things. Most people don't like this type of content. Some people do, some people don't. I don't give a fuck what people think. Fuck what they think. If I'm talking about the situation, you'll see. You don't have to follow people's lives like that. You got a bunch of weirdos think like that. And that's the problem with certain individuals. It's a lot of individuals like that. I ain't naming particular one. I'm just saying all of them like that. And I've noticed that on YouTube. It's pathetic. Who cares? People tired of seeing car videos. I'm just saying. Some people say they're not. What's going on, Mike V? Most of them ain't shit, and they ain't got no real content afterwards. I'm just telling it like it is. Pre-records is different. You can do a car, you can do it outside, park, whatever. It doesn't matter, or you don't have to show yourself. I'll do all types of content, bro. I speak on what I speak on. You know what I mean? And I'm going back to the ways when I used to do content. Period. Since I got the extra gear on me in the winter, I'm on fire with it. So basically, I'm just saying that's so many things to learn in so many words. So I'm not saying to be saying in so many words. So if you got people out there acting up and doing things online, that's on them. So basically, that's just what it is. So you have these problems. But the echo chambers, to me, I'm done listening to people's bullshit. And I'm glad I'm doing content once again. I'm glad I'm doing it in a spearheaded way. I'm glad I don't give a fuck. Because the most of I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna keep going, right? So, in so many words, I'm not saying the series should be bad. This is a good series. I like to embrace being an independent thinker. This will be a recurrence thing. I just want to drill that in people's heads. And we're going to talk about not being an echo chamber. According to this damn report right here, we're going to talk about in the 40-minute mark, and I'm going to go ham on it a little bit. And I found some interesting links to it. We're going to talk about it in the University of Pennsylvania Press. We're going to talk about it in the Atlantic. And I just want to lay it out there. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be like, I can do the search. Just a discussion. I want to spark the discussion. I'm just saying, like, I'll read it. And I know people don't like me reading it. I don't give a shit. This is for me only. I'll mention it. And that's just how I'm gonna get down. But in so many words, like, yeah, man, like, you can't be an echo chamber forever. So the purpose of me doing this, I'm like, we gotta stop. Because I noticed that last year. Because last year everybody's had one. And it was a good year. It was a good year for me for coming back. I think last year helped me think of doing content again. Because see, 2 years ago, I wasn't in the right place of doing it. I could have did it 2 years ago. And yeah, it'd have been paramount when I came back. But I'm glad I came back the next year and I finally had something to do. And I'm glad I did content finally. And it forced me to do this. It started in the spring of April. It'll be a year since I did live streams. But it'll be 10 years since I got this channel. And I'm trying to build off on it. I'm gonna keep this channel, and then if I do another channel, I'm gonna have a different computers and things like that, or a studio. I can change different types of content. But what I'll do is I'll have a different channel. It may be like a guest channel or podcast and whatever. I don't know if it's gonna be the same streaming system. We'll see. I gotta see how it looks. In so many words, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to stay in those parameters. But that's a whole nother spiel. I'm not trying to keep it above like that. But I'll think about it. That's something to think about. I might have to get an extra bank account to control that one, just to keep it real with y'all. That's a task, or I can do that. That's just something I'm thinking about. That's future wise, till I get to that level again. Um, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and it's one of those things that we got to talk about because in so many words, people been asking what my content is about. Well, most of it is what it is. It's the historical stuff. I used to talk about the Hebrew Israelite shit, the Torah and things like that, and scriptures. I used to. I don't do that no more. That was back in the early days of my content. I don't now because it was a sting up operation, knocked my shit out of bounds, and there we are. That's just what it is. And I'm just saying, why is this going to be coming from somebody's perspective? I have different challenges and things like that. People challenge me on various different topics. I'm not really afraid what's going on. So I've been around for a while, so y'all got to forgive me. I'm not one of those people that's going to take things lightly. I've seen the bullshit for what it is. Some people do content on different things. I criticize everybody. I used to do that when I was not as big as everybody, and I still think like a small content creator, but I'm also as good as gold, and I've dominated every facet of content I've done after the 3 year, awakening and things like that. So recently just showed who cares. So basically, I'm saying like this. I don't really care at this point. I'm on that level, and I'm just gonna keep moving forward. I'm not really worried about the next person, the next man, or things like that. But echo chambers do get created, and that's just what it is. Some people just gonna be them, and they stay gonna be them. And I'm not really mad at what's going on, but people are gonna be people, regardless. And I'm not trying to tell people what to do, not worrying about what people want to do, and just keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I've really thanked certain people like that. So I'm just saying echo chambers is what it is, bro. Echo chambers is what it is. And yeah. I know people's looking at it in my algorithm and things like that, but I'm not tripping. Oh, somebody likes Mr. Jap or Nap. I mean, network. Interesting. So, in so many words, I'm just saying, like, look here. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. We gotta have what we gotta have. So, oh shit, bots. Okay, let me get rid of them. If y'all see the bots, report them. Report them. They get off your feed because always report the bots. Those are not Russian bots. Those are Google administrators. And they come in here. They usually turn them off. They did good yesterday. I didn't get them yesterday for some reason, but that's just I don't know. These are yeah. So yeah, yeah, they'll be gone. I got rid of them. Those bots are annoying, but those are Google bots, by the way. I'm not using that stupid ass subscriber fees. They still flag your shit too from Google. Don't matter. It's a waste. Don't listen to idiots like that. That's another way to fuck your shit up. I studied that shit. Those are Google bots. Dre told me about them. They ain't gonna stop people from doing shit like that, but yeah, just report them. They'll go away. Like I said, you got to look at it things like that. So it's 34 minutes. Okay, we're almost in the 40-minute mark. We're gonna talk about that report. Yeah, because that's it probably for the night because they usually come around at nighttime. I don't understand that. I don't understand that shit at all. They usually don't even come in the daytime, I've noticed. See, I don't like that requirement. No. Don't tell me how to stream and do shit like that. See, that's why YouTube is going down the way it's going to go down. So the guy from people he mentioned from Utah, are they done? I'm gonna speak on that Thursday. Open discussion about that and the politics of 2024. I don't care about the politics. I just care about this one thing about the Mayan report that's been overly used in these manosphere red pill spaces. I think it's overrated. It's nothing special about it. I'll read some of it. I'm not gonna go in depth. I'm just gonna read what it is and then what y'all think. I have no opinion or facts. I'm just saying, do we need it in the future as a reference? I'm just saying, or use it for Black History Month because I'm still gonna criticize it. To be honest with you, I know he was a senator and everything else. I'm not gonna go in depth and argue points. It's not argument. It's a discussion. Does it really matter to use the Monahan report as a reference? I'm just saying that's the question I asked. Does it really matter? So, you know what I mean? Because I think the conversation should change. My issue with it really doesn't matter. Because I don't think we should use that in the 21st century. I don't think people care about families. That goes for any generation. But yeah, yeah. So, like I said, you got a lot of echo chambers, people quoting that shit left and right. And I understand people have their ways of thinking and doing things, and they just like, okay, this is going to be a good thing. But some people just going to look at it differently. So you're not going to have so many verses like that. And that's just what it is. So in so many, I'm just saying for what it is. A lot of people don't look at it like that. But and like I said, good evening, Shonda. Appreciate you. But yeah, this is one of those things that I will discuss, and I feel like it needs to be read or anything else. But I have no issues with it. I just don't like it discussed as like it's valid or some shit. But it has its value, it has its place in history. But why use it as a reference? I wouldn't use it in a discussion like that. But I'm just curious why people love it so much. I'm just curious. I'm just gonna ask Gordon, why is it important for the boys or any structure of family? Or it's just a history that people haven't understood, because I wasn't taught this when I was young. I was taught the other shit, the racism and things like that in the South, and basic civil rights shit. They didn't teach us this shit. They did not in the South. No. Greetings, College Jane. Salute. All hail Great Skull. But like I said, this is one of the things I will say is one of those reports that you have that's infamous in these spheres, probably the 2.0 spaces a while. And I mentioned that in the pre-record. So in so many words, I would say it's needed to be discussed. So yeah. And I think it's coming to its rightful place and things like that. So yeah. So I will say, like in terms, you got what you need. So yeah. So it's 38 minutes, about to get in the 40-minute mark. So let me get something real quick. I'm just looking at it and just waiting. So, like I was saying, echo chambers can be a hassle, right? So, in so many, you can have what you can see. Like people, they love talking about the same old stuff, and I think it's repetitive. It's kind of like religion. Um, you get stuck on one thing, then it becomes paramount. Then you got people giving up time and places and things to look at. Okay, this is going to be valid. But what you have here is you don't have the same stuff that you see all the time. So I'm saying being independent thinking, and that's what I've seen. You cannot have the same old stuff and talk about the same old stuff forever. It's just ridiculous at this point. That's how you get stuck in that trap. But I understand why people think like that. So, okay, let me look at the Chrome tab for a minute. Okay, let's look at this right here. I'm gonna pull this up. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this up. Pull this up. Yeah, this is the Monahan report. Annotations. Annotated edition. A historian unpacks the Negro family, the case of the national action on the 50th anniversary by Daniel Greery. It mentions the New Year's Eve of 1964 anniversary, things like that. So, only use the key opponents of the Negro family, the case of the national action. Office Policy Planning and Research, United States Department of Labor. United States in approaching the new crisis in race relations. In the decade that began with the school degradation, decision of the Supreme Court ended with the passage of the Civil Rights Act 1964. The demand of the Negro Americans for full recognition of their civil rights was fully met. The effort, no matter how savage and brutal of some states that local governments to thwart the exercise those rights is doomed. But the nation will not put up with its least of all the Negroes. The percent of moment will pass. He said, okay. In the meantime, a new period is beginning. In the new period, expectation of the Negro Americans will go beyond civil rights. Being American, they will now expect that in the near future, equal opportunities for them as a group will produce roughly equals results as compared with other groups. This is not going to happen, nor will it happen for generations to come unless a new and special effort is made. There are two reasons. First, the racist virus and the American bloodstream will afflict us. Negro will encounter serious personal prejudice. And for at least another generational second three, um, I'll say the second three, I'll say the second three, yeah, at least another generation, but the second three centuries of sometimes unimaginable mistreatment have taken their role on the Negro people. But the harsh fact is that as a group, that the as the percent at the present time, in terms of the ability to win, are in the competitions of American life, but they are rioted equal to most those groups with which they will be competing. Individually, Negroes can reach their highest peaks of achievement, but collectively, in a spectrum of American ethnic and religious and regional groups, where where some get plenty and some get none, where some send 80% of their children to college and others pull them out of school at the eighth grade. Negroes are among the weakest. Hmm. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But they're among the weakest, and he said the most difficult. Hold on for a second. Got distracted right there. My fault. The most difficult for the fact that white Americans to understand it is that these terms, circumstances of the Negro American community in recent years has probably have been getting worse, but not better. Yeah, like they always say, the fundamental problems. Yeah, we talked about this. They got key points in the blue. Mid drill. Yeah, it's just black Muslim doctrines and things like that. So it gives you a whole meat of it. I said I'm not gonna read this long because I'm just gonna have a small discussion and copy the link and I'll put it in the chat. I'm gonna put it. I got the link for the stream, y'all. Hold on. So let me put this out here, paste, and just dump it in here. Yeah, y'all can see that. So in so many words, that's it. We're gonna get back to it, and I'm just gonna pull up another one. See what we're gonna deal with here. Let's see here. Share. Okay, we got the press blog. Okay. University of Pennsylvania Press. Understanding how we talk about inequality in America, reflections on the Moynihan Report beyond civil rights. Okay. Today, let's go read this screen right here. Okay. Mm. Okay. Okay. Today we have a guest, pass from Daniel Geary, most Piggott Associate Professor in the United States, History of the Trinity College in Dublin, author of Beyond the Civil Rights and the Moynihan Report, and its legacy now out in paperback, Beyond the Civil Rights, and its fresh look at one of the 20th century's most controversial documents 50 years after its publication. Daniel Patrick Moynihan's government report to the Negro family, a case for national action, issued shortly after the 1964 Civil Rights Act, was intended to highlight social economic inequality among African American families. However, the report's central argument that the families headed the single mothers were inhibited of African American progress touched off a heated controversy, but the long running dispute over the Moynihan's conclusions changed have Americans talk about race. But the family and poverty here, Geary shows insights into where the doctors and then the role of the Moynihan report within them stand today. Yeah, that's what they talk about. This is like a article, and then you got the whole thing. It's just a small discussion. So this is like another one too. I'm gonna put this in the chat for you, but we're gonna go back and talk about the one I just read. Right. So we're gonna copy this. I'm gonna put this in the chat for y'all, and just give me 1 second. What's going on, Mike Metro? Salute, bro. Salute. All right, we're gonna get into this real quick. We're gonna go like that. So yeah, we're gonna stop the share, and we're just gonna go right quick. Me with the A. Gotcha. We'll knock this down. Open another tab. We're gonna search it. Give me some of the search. And there we go. Okay, the Moynihan edition. We just read. Okay, we're gonna go back to it. I mean, what y'all think? I mean, it's more to read and talk about the distribution achievements, Negro roughly comparable to among whites. So it's a good articles. You got 3 different articles, like understanding, the Moynihan report and results. They show you the wage, unemployment. I'm gonna put this on the screen for y'all. But yeah, this is basically what have it, right? So, you look at this graph, is it important today? I'm just want to have a small discussion. What's going past $40. Salute, man. I feel like this. When I see this and I saw this article, I felt like, okay, this is what they're talking about. I know people got the book and everything. I would love to have the book too. I might order it real soon or whatever. I'll think about it. I'm not big on reading about social and shit like that. Some people talk about it, but it's a good discussion to have. Is it relevant today? And then you talk about unemployment rate, non-white males age 14 and over. You know what I'm saying? This is back in those times. But it's still roughly like that. I think those discussions, you embrace it and things like that. I might talk about that next month. Is it very valuable? You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at these graphs. And it says the minimum wage was $1.25 per hour. Provides basic income to an individual, but the income will below the poverty line for a couple, much less family with children. This is back in the 60s. This stuff we shouldn't be talking about. That we already know how bad it was, because I wasn't around then. I was born in the late 80s. And yeah, is it really relevant in today's discussion? I'm just skimming through and things like that. Yeah, so I put it in the chat so y'all can read it. I don't go in depth on it. I may talk about it next month. Why is it overly used? in the spheres and things like that, or is it important in history? You know what I'm saying? Because this is January right now. Because February they call that Black History Month. So, in so many words, I just want to stick with it and just be efficient with it. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. I will say it's good to talk about it in historical reference, but is it very valuable? You know what I mean? Is it valuable for us as a people, to study that report? Some people say it is, some people say it ain't, but does it have any merit? So, usually we're going to talk about this for a minute. So, before I even say anything, but I just like to have a discussion on it. But yeah, this is one of those reports I've heard all the time since probably 2 years ago. And the Grandmaster loves quoting this. He loves, you can see it in the Monahan report. You see it from this and that, the families, the structures, the graphs, the unemployment. So, okay, but is it very valuable today, right? I'm going to search that for a minute. I'll say, is it valuable to read? I say Monahan report. Okay. Oh shit. Sorry, y'all. I'm typing like crazy. Is it valuable? See, we up in here now. Let's see here. Okay. Nothing but searches. Urban Institute, Urban Org. Let's see what they got. Oh shit. They revisited the Monahan report. It's on the Politico. Let's go here for a minute. I'm going to see this for a minute. Toya, the Ultimate One, son. Greetings. But yeah. Going to the Politico. Yeah, we're gonna go to it. And we're gonna read this for a minute. There you go, the Political and things like that. Braden explains the Monahan report false values among young people. Bill Bratton on Wednesday said his comments. Okay, what day this is? I think it was on 2015. He was saying that. That's an old report. I don't see what he says. Comments during the television interview about the deterioration of. Damn, why does it keep flickering? Okay, let me stop. The values were misunderstood, but he was talking about the young people, not African Americans. But the comment about values was specifically speaking to New York Times and front page story about the homicide problem throughout the United States, particularly is our major cities. The police commission said, and the values I was speaking was to unfortunately among some young people in the African American community, Latino community, white community, that among young people, the value of structure is not there. We have too many young people killing each other over nothing. Yeah, which is true. Well, we do it ourselves all the time, but everybody else, that's true. That's true. That's why our disease are not reliable. This is why I don't take them seriously, or ours. See, you got to focus on the ones that's young, that's born and surviving shit. They supposed to correct the stuff. Yeah. And we got to be, and if we become elders, we got to be the one to guide them, which is fucked up. That's why you can't talk about the Monahan report being a factor. So we're going to see what he's talking about. Braden remarks of during a regularly scheduled press briefing at the NYPD headquarters about come to a day after his appearance of the MSNBC's Morning Joe program. During an interview, the show Brayton was asked if the rising of homicide rate in major cities around the country was due to decline in morals and values in Brayton. In our society, in our science, I have an occasion over the weekend to read the Senator Monahan's famous uh, trustees from the 60s. Go read and again and talk about the being a precinct about what was going to happen into the black society in terms of the disaggregation of family, disaggregation of values, and it's going to beyond just the black community. Brayton's was referring to the report written by Daniel Patrick Monahans in 1965 entitled The Negro Family, the Case for Federal Action is more commonly known as the Monahan Report. Brayton's reference to the report was criticized by council members uh Juan Main Williams. Yeah, Juan Main Williams, or Juan Williams, and Andrews Dickens, and spokesman for the communities in United for Police Reform, and Assembly Churches Obrarian of Brooklyn, who called the report racist. Early on Wednesday, Mayor Bill de Blasio told the reporters of the City Hall that he disagreed with Brayton's citation of the Monahan report, saying it was an outdated and irrelevant. That's what they said back then. But yeah, and written during the oh shit, why does it keep? Okay, let me stop scrolling because that's probably the problem. Keep bumping. Okay, written during the cultural upheaval in the 1960s, the Monahan report, right, called the attention to the growing instability in black families and called for federal intervention to help families and remain intact. It was immediately controversial because of the emphasis on the single parent households. Monahan himself was reared in one such household and out of wedlock births. Brayton sought to underscore the reports of overall message and African Americans are at a disadvantage, but need more assistance to help offset these structural challenges. They are faced in education, housing, and safety, and in criminal justice. There's no denying the African American communities there are strong, cultural, strong religious, and strong community values, he said. But that over time, this what the Monahan report spoke to. But there's no community that has been a stress over time as the African American community, 250 years of slavery and 150 years of Jim Crow. Coming out of Jim Crow, but the segregation that spawned the civil rights movement. And at the time the report was written, it was called to action to assist the community that has been impacted like no other community in our history. Yeah, that's what it is. But I'm not going to read further into it. I mean, this is from the Politico. If you want to, that's it. I'm going to give y'all that because this thing is a little wonky on my end because I'm using a different laptop and things like that. What's going on, Vonda? What's going on? What's going on? Shit. Let me look at here for a minute. Let me see. Let me look at this real quick. Get them out of here. These bots. And they're Google bots. Yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, get out of here. Yeah, but that's all I want to discuss. But it's almost getting to the hour mark. Let me drop this. Boom. Yeah. Let me pin the message. All right, let me pin it. All right, there you go. But yeah, that's just a small touch. What y'all think about it and things like that. You know, I got this from the Political and things like that. So I want to take it off the screen. But yeah, the infamous Monahan report. You saw it for yourself. there's some little criticisms there, and I'm not gonna get it. Is it relevant today? Is it valuable today? Information wise, because some people say they don't like it or whatever. But I try to use it on Google, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna say if it's valuable. It's just a question. This is like a one-time series. We'll talk about it, and I'll do a search. Future. I won't use it for probably the Thursday streams and go in depth. This is just like a little off subject base, but and that's just what it is. And that's just what it is. Get it out of here. Cause you got a lot of bots in here. It's nighttime. They coming at me today. So yeah. Yeah, they coming at me today. So I already know. Yeah. Yeah, because the bots are coming at me today. So it's Google bots. They ain't gonna take it down because they're trying to see what's what. But yeah, we talked about it brief. I'm not gonna go in depth on it. I may talk about some of it Thursday. Just a discussion and brief. And I ain't gonna do no screen shares. I'm just gonna just say what I read, and we can have that discussion or whatever. But I did it for this tonight on the independent thinking series, and I think it's a good topic to come. Yeah, here comes the bots. Those are Google bots. Some people say they're Russian. No, those are Google bots. Those are administrating bots. Some people say you can get them out based off the subscribe. I'm not doing that because that hurts people that wants to subscribe to your channel. That's a process in January. I'm not stopping just because I'm an hour in the string. I'm not doing that shit. That's just one of those things that, and they turn them shits off, but they always happen at night. I'm noticing that now. They don't do that in the daytime. See, that shit, but it's not just black sectors. It's all of YouTube. I've seen bigger YouTubes get them, and that's what pisses me off. Like that right there. This is why people don't do live streams no more because of that shit. Pre-records is hard to do. I'm telling people it's not easy. And Google's being compromised right now, but that's their fault. That's that bullshit that I've been saying the longest. What's happened to this site is not gonna last forever. They dealing with a lot of shit. And that's the damn problem. A lot of people's on some bullshit. And I'm just saying, like, not feeling it. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's just what it is. I've seen it over at Big YouTube and they had it. So I'm not worried about it. But yeah, the Monahan report, that was something that I want to talk about and things like that. So I'm not really interested or anything. So I know people are busy and things like that watching the college game. I don't give a shit about Georgia and Alabama at this point. But yeah, I'll discuss it. A little bit of it. I put the links in the chat if y'all want to read and things like that. I didn't want to go in depth. I just want that discussion because I heard that from Big J and whatchamacallit, the Grandmaster himself, BGS, talking about it on their channel, and they're going back and forth and things like that. My channel is not relationships. I don't support that shit. I just want to know what's it going to help as a black collective. What are y'all thoughts? To me, I ain't trying to save no collective really. I want to see what it is the future if you planning on having a structure or a society or whatever or a career and things like that. I want an all balanced solution, but some people say it ain't none. But that's okay. It's just a suggestion. It don't have to be for anyone. So yeah, that's why I was wanting to talk about, and what people was talking about, and I'm glad I talked about it, and I felt like it's need to have because they use this as an echo chamber, and I think one of the reasons when you read it, some people in the article they read they disagree with it. So in so many words, I feel like that's just the norm of them talking about it in the 2.0 space, and they try to use it as a religion, basically religion. So I'm just asking a suggestion. Is that just a way to help the younger generation? Because the older generation don't really give a shit about it. It's the younger people. I think it's alpha, and then what they say beta. That's for them. Are they going to use it in the next 30 to 40 years? Because we'll be gone by then. They'll get tired of hearing the same old rhetoric. I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm gonna step away for a minute. I'll be right back. I'm gonna be on mute. I gotta check something in the background, so I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back, y'all. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, in so many words, I feel like it's always used as an echo chamber. Um, People love talking about this a lot. And I think when they talk about it so much, they feel like it's the only standard to talk about in civil rights and things like that. But I have no issues with the history of it, but is that future based for helping the younger guys or even the younger girls listen to that stuff? I'm just saying, I'm just curious what y'all thoughts on it. But like if you want to challenge on it, that's cool. We can have a discussion. Is it like standard, whatever? I know the grandmaster ain't listening. He just probably doing his duties. I'm just throwing a bone out there. But you know how it is. I mean, people doing their things, but those, like I said, Monday streams ain't for everybody. I think people do this type of stuff. But yeah, but you got to stop being your echo chamber, man, and stop using like the Monahan report as like a reference. I mean, I've seen this a lot. A lot of people ain't gonna just come through and just be seen and things like that. So I expect that a lot of people do their things, and you know, but you know what I'm saying? They talk about it, families and things like that. I don't really talk about subjects like that because I don't really care because most people have a different respect to how they look at families. Some people don't even believe in it. Not even the boomers, not even my dad's generation. I mean, some of them do, but not the majority. And I heard somebody said that on a panel, and I'm like, that's slightly true and that's slightly false. The only people that loves family is actually our generation a little bit. The younger or the older millennial, we like the family structure because we grew up at a time. And if our grandparents or World War II generation parents or silent and things like that, depends on your age. Um, that's what we grew up around. Now you can say that about Gen X's don't care about family. They don't. A lot of people say they do. Technically, they don't. That's not true. It's like the Z's don't care about family. See the pattern. It's the same shit. It's a repeat. Alpha's probably the only one to care about family more than we do. futuristically and how they change families and things like that. But that's a whole nother discussion. I ain't gonna get into that. But the Moynihan report is not a solution. That's just an old tactic that people use and think it's standard. I'm curious. I'm curious though. That's just one thing I can say about it. But people are gonna pick and choose what they're gonna listen to. And I'm not really mad or sad or anything. I'm just saying, like, is that it? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really tripping off that, you know. And that's just how it's gonna be. But when you look at it, that's just a big ploy, you know? And that's how you gotta be. I mean, it's commonly used, and I'm just saying. I'm gonna look at it real quick. Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's just how people look at it. Look at it as an echo chamber. But yeah, I was looking at it. Let me look at it real quick. Let me throw this off. Let's turn my old device on. Yeah. And I'm just like saying, people love echo chambers, man. But that's the whole purpose of me doing this subject matter. And I feel like when you talk about it, you get to know what's what. And I'm just like, yeah, man. Like every time I hear this a lot, it's just why we're going back to the '60s. That shit's dead, bro. Like nobody wants to live like that, bro. Like, I mean, that's in y'all's time, but that was a rough time, but no one cares. I mean, you can add a few things that we could do different, but the young generation don't care. It depends on how they were raised and act in this society. It helps them build that confidence. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people got their own ways of looking at it. I mean, some people are just not going to go for it. You know, that's just me. And some people just need to move forward and move on. You know, that's all I can say about the report. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just something I will discuss Thursday. The reason I do it brief on here because I just want a small discussion on it and what we can talk about. I can add some lists to it or what other things it's talking about because this is interesting for next month. Is that valuable? Okay, I'm gonna read this question right here. He's a curious. Then what do you feel about the monitor should be used for? I think it should be used for to be honest with you, I think it should be used for historical reference. I think it should be used for historical reference. I think people should know about it, learn about it. I wouldn't use it for a family structure. That's the problem. And it has a lot of weaknesses. It's supposed to help people. But if I ever got the book, I would tell you like I wouldn't use it today's time. Most people don't really care. Some of it is the TV that messed up everybody and the internet. So that's a whole nother story on that. You know, the Monahan report ain't gonna fix everything. Now we understand the structure of single parenting, but it's different layers why it's like that. It's all systematic. But that's just one piece. You know, what's going on information, man? Peace, peace. And that's what I'm saying. But yeah, it should be used for like a study, but I wouldn't use it as a standard of a talking point because a lot of people use that so much. And some people just don't care. I think it's good to learn. I think it's good to learn about what happened back then and things like that. But outside of that, you can take key points. The book is good too. You read the report, you would understand. But you know, that's a whole nother, spiel on that. I might have to make a special stream on that. I don't know if it's gonna be this Thursday or next Thursday. I think I can do it this Thursday because since I'm doing a redo, I'll talk about that. It doesn't really matter because I think people will come through Thursday more than Monday. Because Monday streams, I don't usually do these a lot. I just do this because you have a lot of echo chambers around the internet, and I understand because COVID, and I mean, I shouldn't say COVID, but 19 virus is the only one that keep people isolated and things like that. So yeah, people are in a jam, cooped up for 2 years. Yeah, but you gotta understand, people read a lot of stuff, do things outside the house, and then lose weight. Interesting times. But you know what I mean? Oh, happy New Year to you. Yeah, appreciate you. But like I said, man, like I look at that report as a thing of the past, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually one of the goodest things to see where we stand at. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be curious. And I'm just going to say it like this. Sometimes I'm just trying to, test the waters and things like that, you know. Cuz I'm looking at different things how people, but it's good to talk about it. And that's the thing. So, I'm glad I add that piece to it. But that's just something to spark a conversation. I said that during the stream. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons that I love to talk about it because I've heard it a lot in certain spaces and things like that nature. But yeah, because anything you talk about it's commonly used a lot. Some people love the Monahan report, man. Oh, excuse me. Oh, and the gas, the rumbles. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh man, let me let me let me scratch that for a minute. Hmm. Oh, okay. Mm. But like I said, I think people just rely on it so much. So yeah, that's all I want to discuss. But yeah, you just don't have to be in a crazy echo chamber and things like that. So I feel like people should understand what's going on. But yeah, it's commonly used. I've seen it a lot. Speaking of that, and talk about race and things like that, in so many words, but damn, my phone keeps acting up. Stop all that. Yeah, I got enough trouble out you today, but yeah, that's one of those things. Ah, it's another bot. Okay. Hold on for a minute. Put it first. There we go. Yeah, get it out of here. And I'm just going to block it. They come in tonight. Yeah. He said, cold climates gotta love the cold, the feeling of your lungs. Some people like that. And yeah, like I said, man, this is one of those things that you gotta look at. So I'm just saying, like in so many words, I think people get caught up into the thing. Like I would say like this. When I first heard of it, I think I heard of it from him like 2 years ago. It's been used a lot. And so, you know, that's just what it is. In so many words, I'm just like this. When you have a bunch of echo chamber and things like that, what's going on, May salute, salute. And I'm just like, people use that a lot. Because at first I let it slide last year, and I'm like, what's so great about it? I might mention this Thursday just to talk about is it that great? Because I'm gonna read bits and pieces of it tomorrow because I gotta get the full meat of it. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had a book on it and just like write certain things down. Does it really matter? And I'll do some research in arguments. I'll only read the arguments of people, and then I'll put it out as a topic. You know what I'm saying? I won't keep that as a film. So some people love it. I mean, some people love talking about it. I mean, it's got some good pointers. I mean, I wouldn't use it as a relationship value or families because what you see today, some people just don't want families. But the ones that do, it's a handful. It's like a 50-50. When I'm out here in the state of Georgia, some people do and some people don't. It's the choice. You can't go by fake statistics. Sometimes it could be real, but for us black people, I've noticed, yeah, they don't value family like they used to. It's only a handful. That's the problem. That's the problem. So yeah, yeah, they have an old conversation, but yeah, yeah, and that's just what it is. But speaking of the Monahan report, we said earlier in between, I was just saying what's so great about it. That was just a side reference of the stream I've used. I'm not saying that's the whole topic of the stream. The whole topic is stay away from echo chambers, and I mentioned this yesterday. Propaganda, prophecy, tropes. I mentioned that as part of it. The PPTs, stay away, because a lot of dudes be on these tropes and they be on fire and things like that. I seen people getting clipped by trolls and seeing they stuff and they going crazy, acting all belligerent and stuff because of the 2 years of the pandemic and the 19 virus. It's getting out of hand. People acting crazy, but they don't understand that's part of a building outside of tech. And I mentioned the smartest shall survive. It's very true. If you're not doing nothing with your daily tag or learning how to get a skill or learn how to type and doing things like that or fixing on a computer or learning software, you're behind. I know I do all that stuff, software and stuff. I mean, fixing computers, that's another thing I can self-teach myself, or you don't even have to go to an engineer, basic shit. But can you run a software? Can you run a system? Can you run these platforms? Like, like they use the term social media or social networks. They're really going to test your head over time. So basically, I would say this is kind of like a requirement on the job. Say on the job, they use a computer. The last time I had a job, I was a barista, right? I had to learn how to use a computer to time in and clock in and things like that. It was cool and neat. Had a password and everything. The only drawback, that shit didn't work. Actually damaged the computer when someone spilled coffee through the keys. Just died. That was it. No more. They had to get a new laptop. Right? That's what killed it. That's the whole purpose of having one. Right? So basically, you just have to have those things in mind. You get what I'm saying? That's the whole feature of having your things, what it is. You get what I'm saying? So being embracive, you understand what's going on. So I understand when people say they want to embrace their thinking. So that's the thing about me. Because normally I just don't really get into it like that. I just come out with a bang. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm gonna be. So in so many words, I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do this or not. You know what I mean? That's how we get down and have that pure strength. Because Monday streams, we can just be on fire and just like, hey, we can talk about it and different things. I'm just sky watching someone else's stream, but I ain't gonna shout them out or anything, but just a reference. I'm just gonna type in the chat. So yeah, man. Different content creators just talking, spewing, but and that's just how people talk. But some people cam up and talk for 4 to 5 hours. But people like to be on camera and spew their thing and just talk. But yeah, but that debate with on the 16th of this coming Sunday with Tommy and VA, that's gonna be interesting as fuck. I'd rather watch that. I'm gonna talk about that. It's good when you have different thinking skills and thinking. I don't know what they're gonna talk about. I might have to talk about that Thursday too, because that's something I will talk about this coming up Sunday. And what the hell are they gonna debate about? What's the subject matter? A lot of people say they have history. What is the subject matter? Because I've heard of them last year acting crazy over that Kwame Brown shit. And Kwame Brown and his best friend Gilbert Arenas. That was some funny shit last week. I was dying laughing. They was on some another man's show on a podcast. I was like, what the fuck? And then he know him and he said this. Gilbert said this. I try to save him. He gets mad at him, which is true. Because that's how Kwame Brown is. He's the type of guy that don't want to be saved at all. He wants to take the risk. It's kind of like me. I take risks all the time. Off this shit. But that's just me. But I'm like, you got a lot of people like that. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point of having that narrative, right? So yesterday I felt like, it was a good stream. It was 5 hours. We talked about various things, and I mentioned, I had to win on someone, and that was my content. And I love it. I love it. And the thing was about Sunday, I felt good about it. I want to be that guy, once again. You know what I'm saying? Because Wednesday and Thursday streams, I could be like that. But when it gets time to do it, you got to stick with it, right? So I'm just saying like this. How can I be that solution? You know what I'm saying? I'm not really tripping about what's going on. I'm just making sure the content is going to be good. Am I correct? So, as what I'm saying, like in so many words, it's so easy to get distracted and not doing it. Now, I've noticed pre-records is hard to get certain numbers, and I understand it comes in time. But pre-records, I'm gonna tell you a secret about being successful in pre-records. If you make them shorter, people watch the shit. But if you make them semi-long and little shorter, some people can watch the pre-record like I'll say 1 minute to 15 minutes, long as they can. That's the longest attention span for 15 minutes. Now, if it's past 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 40, 50 minutes, hell no. If it's good information that you're talking about, yeah, you can talk about that in 50 minutes. But can you put that in a recording? No. It's hard for most people. Most people cannot handle pre-records like that. You know what I'm saying? They can't even handle a basic instruction. That's the fucked up part about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you handle when you have a good subject matter and they don't want to deal with it? Because the stuff I used, I had a laptop computer, use a lab mic, and I used that for decades. And I was on a different computer. It was on the Windows on the Dell, and that shit died on me. Had content, had pictures and everything. I mean, I was on that website. Shouts out to the guy with that website, great info and things like that. I don't know what he's come up with because I've yet to see that type of topics. I want to see what he updated. Did he update? You know what I'm saying? Like, cause he said some things, but you know, that's Egypt and things like that. So yeah, this guy's a scholar, anthropologist, and you know, it's been a while. I talk about this shit a lot. I don't go in depth. You know, that's what my channel's about. You know, I don't really use anything. I stick with it, man. Like I stick with what I know and what my content was about. That's how it was built. It was built off that. And I give you the history, I give you knowledge, and that's it. That's it. That's basically what it anthropology and things like that, people. I can go in it for hours. I can use that on my Wednesday streams. It's not as much. But what you get into it, you get into it. I don't go in depth like I used to. I talked about this shit decades ago when it wasn't popular and this website wasn't popular. Shouts out to the guy, the brother that came up with this website. Good info. Appreciate you giving the shout out to realhistory.com. I mean, support the brother, support the website and things like that, information, and we can use it as historical references to people that exist. He could bring you facts, anthropology, and things like that, and we're looking at it. Some people hate on it. That's cool. That's just what it is. Not much changed. You know what I'm saying? Like not much change. And I'm just looking at it like, okay, this is Etruscan tomb. Hmm. So I'm going to look at it for real quick. Hannibal and things like that. Cambodia, things Hawaii. So we talked about a lot. Same old stuff. But yeah, he has to change a little bit. He ain't add nothing new. I don't think he had Japan. There's other websites besides that. But you know. Oh man, let me get him out of here. Oh, you already got him? Okay. Let me report him and get him out of here. Damn, these damn bots. That's several bots. I said they trying to flag this shit. No, they not. That's just bots. They're not doing that. It just there's just a hassle. They don't be in the you know. But yeah. But that's how people, do it now. But but I think people do a lot of live streams. They take a lot of risk. But so like I said, this is one of those things I'm like, yeah, not much. My thoughts are better than your thoughts stream. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Shoot. My thoughts on that. Hmm. Yeah, that stream I did, I'll say yesterday was pretty good. I mean, I got everything out and I said, you know what? I'm gonna stick to what I do and just be that type of content creator again. But it's a lot of streams I've done to about different subject matters. But I might have to delve into the Wednesday stream, the anarchism and the philosophy streams, but it ain't that much on the history stuff. I mean, I can do pieces and do pre-records off of that, but that's gonna be a hassle for me. But see what y'all talking about. He acts like a female. Who's that? Yeah, they multiply. Some Google bots, man. Woo. That's gonna be a while. Yeah, cause see, I didn't get them yesterday. I was curious. I said, oh, it happens at night. I see. Don't happen in the day. I mean, it happens in the day, but it's just when you get towards to the night. I see what it is. Yeah, they happen at night and then they go away in the daytime. That's just weird to me. Damn, that's bad. It's bad too. I've been saying last year. A lot of people try to say the bots didn't exist. Well, the reason it's bad, the live streams. Um, I remember they was subscribed to my channel one time when I started streaming in April. That's been happening since April. A lot of people try to say that's April. No, they've been happening. They've been doing this shit, subscribe and unsubscribe to my shit on purpose. Those are bots. I mean, that ain't y'all. It's the bots. I mean, they've always had them to do some weird shit, and the next thing you know, they try to take your shit away. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them are bots, man. Got to be careful. Solving it by the subscriber shit only in the no, they can still dislike your shit and fuck up your ratings and shit. I see what they do, and these are Google bots, so we got to be careful. It's yeah, it's weird shit, but they're doing that. Yeah, they come. It's not. A lot of people think it's just one sec. No, it's all of YouTube. I see it on bigger channels that don't do the subscribe and the members, and it's a problem. And even if you turn on the only channels or members or subscribe, still ain't gonna work. They're gonna fuck up with your ratings. That's next, and people gonna have an issue with that. Yeah, man. They'll probably. I don't think they're gonna put a stop to it anytime soon because Google's going through a transition. A lot of people use a lot of live streams, man. A lot of data, and they say ain't nobody going back to pre-records. Cause ain't worth a damn. They gotta change their system. They gotta update it. The new update's trash, man. Everybody's internet's not bad around the US, and I think part of that is 5G ain't worth a damn. Like for most people, they have to increase that. I tell you, that's tech for you. It's a lot of fucking problems. I won't waste my energy crying about it. It's what it is. Always gonna be some kinks. See, I had internet problems. Uh, I'll say last week and last year. I tweaked some things. Even in the live stream, it fucked me over. Yeah. What's going on, Jason? Salute. Salute. Tweak my shit. I had to tweak some settings and things like that. Yeah, even doing the live stream. But yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, pre-records is still valuable, but the problem is people are not interested in them. That's the drawback. So, YouTube is one of those things, man. You gotta look at it for what it is. Some people like them, some don't. They can come from that era. I remember those eras. You had to do something. You had to be interesting because the context and the content was great. You couldn't go anywhere. So me having a different microphone, man, come a long way. When I was using, had those 4 polar patterns, man. I was using that for like August. I still use it on panels and shit or pre-records. I use them on pre-records and then I switch the mic thing out. And like I said, man, I'm gonna start using it for my pre-records too. This guy that's useless. I'll switch it out, switch the arm out, and then just come with the dynamic, and I'll be like, yeah, that's my mic and the yoke and things like that. But if I'm on a panel with somebody as a guest, I can do that. But I remember using this particular microphone, but yeah, y'all can hear the arm. It blocks out all the sounds and people to yell and things like that, but I don't see what it's like in the recording. Interesting. Interesting. But like I said, man, like it's one of those things that's happened. It's gone sick diggy, please. But yeah, like I said, man, I was using different model agers and things like that. But when I had my first mic, I said, man, had this in August, still use it. I used it until it was my standard mic. I had that thing until I still got it. I use it on panels and shit until December. Ain't my standard no more, but I'll use it as a backup, whatever, on the yoke. It's like a condenser, but I'm gonna use it for my pre-records. Yeah, 4 polar patterns, and yeah. It's got stereo, omni, cardioid. Yeah. There's another one got 5. I don't even like that shit. Yeah. But yeah, man, being an independent thinker, man, is one of the things that I enjoy. And I talked a little bit about the Miami report. That's something I'm gonna talk about Thursday. I want to break it down. Is it really valuable and things like that? And I did it tonight. I just showed you snippets, links, and all that. Let's talk about it, shall we? And let's talk about it like on that Thursday. I'm gonna have a topic, see who's gonna come through or not. A lot of people, they just gonna be who they are. They're gonna be who they are. That's just it. But this year is one of those things. I'm like, yeah, I can tell you. That's just what it is. That's what it is. You know? Yeah, man. But like I said, you got a lot of echo chambers and things like that, and people talk about. I talked about this a lot. My main issue with it is just ridiculous at this point. Like you got a lot of fucking people that deal with echo chambers and shit like that. It's annoying. What I saw last night over at Arts is ridiculous. I mean, you got a white boy named Ragnaroff, right? He tried coming here with some racist bullshit. If that was me, I'd have knocked his ass off the panel and blocked him. He wouldn't have had no say. I had to do that last year. There was another boy that did that, knocked his ass off. He was trying to windmill for Imano. I said, get out of here. The other one, with the weed and all that. I had to get him out of there too. Get out of here. And try flag my shit. Get out of here. Motherfuckers is useless. I'm glad DC the code breaker was there. He was there. Saw SKC what trying to do. And guess what these dudes did? Guess what the trims did? Guess what they did? Critical race theory, CTR, right? Still talking about that shit. Clue Channel was on the panel and BGS gave him a grilling. If y'all watch this stream, watch the replay. You see what I saw. Some bullshit. And then these dudes did a stream today and just like, it's ridiculous. Like, they was making fun, just being themselves. And I understand their perspective. They do clips and everything because they use Restream. Restream is a good streaming brand, but goddamn, like, it's ridiculous. And that just proves my point about, but shouts out to Art. I mean, he did a good job, but they handled it. They should have kicked him off early. That was me. I would have got him up out of there. Yeah. Yeah. Talking about who they talking about. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what you see here, it's the same old shit. Why have them on? Them boys was praising that white boy. If y'all watched that stream, why I watched last night, it's ridiculous. And I forget what they said in the argument. He said, "Man, let him speed. He was right. You kept cutting him off." They were cussing each other out. I was like, "What the fuck?" They was defending this motherfucker, and finally, Art bounced his ass off. Like, man, he was being reckless. He was showing his colors. But I don't be on panels like that over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't discuss it with them, especially these trims on the panel. They up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Me and Dre and Cerulean called them that. We coined that phrase in last year's streams in the months, and we coined it last year. So basically what I'm saying is stop allowing these fools in the chat rooms and fucking panels. Now, the chat rooms I understand, but on panels, it's just he lied about being native. He was on that bullshit. Y'all just let him. See, this is a problem I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't take them as pro-black serious. Y'all ain't pro-black. That's why people label y'all as the C word, coons. You know, different than they are. At least they're honest with their shit. They admit it. But goddamn, y'all proving our points. But it's no hate on him. It's just like, I would have handled that differently. He would have got no word in. Nothing to say. That's the thing about people, how you deal with guys like that. See, that side is damn near decimated. We can't be right ringing that crazy on here. You just can't. It's not marketable. It's not marketable. And I understand that what Art was trying to do, but you can't have a conversation with these fools, especially if they're from Canada. Fuck out of here. You ain't gonna listen to no Canadian fucking idiot. I don't care if he's from the French province or English province. Fuck him. I stand on that shit. I mean, I welcome him sometimes, but if you come in here with that political racist bullshit, I'm knocking your ass off the panel. There's other places. That's all I'm saying. Goddamn.
Goddamn is right.
What's going on, Captain? What's going on, Captain?
What's going on, Vice Captain? What's going on? Sorry about that, man. I was waiting for waiting for the medicine man to get here. But we good though.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good stream yesterday. I might have to see the replay of that tomorrow, that Sunday Madness.
Yeah, my bad about that too, man.
Oh yeah, no, you good, man. But cause see that stream it was gonna be short. I don't think it was like a full panel stream. It was like my comeback stream, but the next one will be on fire because I know people are gonna watch the Tommy and Village Arsonist and things like that. So that's the whole point,
Right.
Yeah. And that's just what it is. But basically, I just felt like, the stream, it was cool. And Red came up first and she appreciated me and everything. I said, yeah, it's pretty cool. I was just trying to get back in the swing of things. But but tonight I referenced a little bit of the Monahan report a little bit, but I ain't gonna go into it till probably like this Thursday. I'm gonna read as much as I can. Yeah.
And that's one of BGS's trump cards too.
Yeah, his favorite, yeah, terms to use. But I'm gonna get it Thursday. I rather talk about it Thursday because I think I rather send like a pre-record. I'm gonna do tomorrow on it. I'm just gonna say like when we're gonna start, and I'll have a discussion with someone like that Thursday. You know, that caliber.
Right.
Just ask a question. You know, what's so great about it? But you know, all right, what's going
It's
on?
just overrated at times. How you been? I mean, you know what I mean?
Good.
Overrated. I mean, like the speaking point, the tropes that they keep putting out there. This gets overrated, overplayed out. It gets annoying, and and like art, I can understand what he did it because what he was trying to do with it, the talk he wanted to
Oh,
do was,
oh,
hear me okay?
yeah, you kind of breaking up.
How about now? Is it cool?
You kind of boggling.
It's like someone crushed the vocals.
Kind of boggling.
Actually, more accurate to describe it like somebody fucked up with the talk with the vocal.
Got a lot of static.
Bro. Oh, wait. Oh, damn.
They got him. Yeah, he got a lot of static.
Yeah. They got him. Yeah, they fucking
How
got
about
him.
now?
They
Everything's
got
working
him.
Oh,
okay.
you good? You good now?
Yeah, it was
They
that
got
echo
him.
filter thing that was messed up.
Oh,
Oni, relax. Oni,
Oh, all right.
Oni, quit bugging out.
He
Quit
back.
panicking
He's
so much.
back.
No, this fool right here. This fool right here. Then again, me and him having a fist fight. That's like watching Lei Wulan against Martial Law. If anybody knows Tekken.
oh yeah.
If they are Johnny come latelys, then that conversation is definitely not for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then again, some people have like more Mortal Kombat. So in that case, it'd be Liu Kang versus Bo Rai Cho.
Yeah, but
Too much race fighting.
I mean, Mortal Kombat is.
Right.
I have my love and hate sentiments about Mortal Kombat, but other than that,
Right.
yeah, it's good to play.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. I mean, I can understand like certain people like letting certain people like just come out there, act a fool, just come out the woodworks and just say what they want to say, espouse what they want. Because it's kind of like the Russia. It's like what they say in Russia. Let your enemies reveal themselves to you. You just sit back, let them show them who you are. You just sit back, observe, and then employ your strategy accordingly. This is why.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
why it's. I mean, anybody who's been in the military will tell you the importance of having reconnaissance. You need to always have reconnaissance missions, intelligence, pickup, and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Yeah.
who the fuck is Mum Ra?
What's going on, Jay Sean?
What's going on, family?
Oh,
What
up,
it is,
Jay
fam?
Sean? What up, man?
What's going on, Ra?
I see where everybody's picking their favorite villain. I see.
I mean, transform this to cave form, nigga.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another fucking bot. Damn,
Don't
bro.
worry.
Is it me, or does it seem like all the bots on your channel like have Cyrillic alphabet?
Well, Google has a thing. They ain't gonna stop it. I think Dre told me what it was. It ain't no Russian bot. It's them, and they have problems. They can't really deal with it at the moment.
Channel, or it's just the black channels?
It's on everybody's channel. It's not black channels.
Yeah.
I've seen it on big YouTubers, and they're dealing with it. They're not gonna flag your stuff. The thing is, they do some damage if you do the members and subscribe. They can dislike your videos and shit. They're kind of like troll bots, but they use it as a test run. I don't know what they're trying to do with the data and things like that. I think Dre was saying something about that guy in Utah. He had like 8 channels. He showed me on Rashawn's. I was like, I see what this is. A lot of it's politics too behind that too, because a lot of that they do this all the time. I've seen this last year. before they flood them on my channel, because one time they would subscribe to me when I started streaming. It was in I think it was during in May in the summer. It was light. Now it's gotten worse because people's doing damn near almost the same thing, but that's understandable. But you know, YouTube don't know how to, or Google knows how to regulate and formulate things like that. They're so behind. See, Facebook wouldn't allow that. They just get rid of the bots. You know, just snipe them left and right.
Well, then again,
that's because they got the state of art algorithm. I've heard from with the Lapeef network. They mentioned one of the guys on a panel said, "No, they have the state of art algorithm." The reason being, Zuckerberg invests that security, and that's the problem. And even though he was, I think they was trying to charge him with that trafficking, but he beat that shit and tried to throw his boys under the bus. So you know, Facebook is being. Yeah, he's still above board, but it's the same old shit, you know. But Google's going through the same thing, so it's a pattern. Anything, these new apps and things like that, you're gonna see a lot of that. You're gonna see a lot of that. That's something.
It's a lot of ass to cover as well. That was a lot of ass they had to cover as well. So that should come as no surprise. Secondly, you know, it's like Google's so caught up in the woke thing, but then again, the thing is like Facebook. Because of the Facebook has been shutting down all that a lot of that mess. A lot of people have been going to other sites like Minds and others. Yeah, Mevo, and some and on Facebook and on YouTube, a lot of groups have seen you've had some of their subscribers being unsubscribed and instead of getting that notification like they're supposed to, like shadow banning and shit like that.
Yeah.
So that's been a problem. It's not just for you know the likes of our y'all's channels, but also to other channels they've been doing that. There's certain channels
it's bigger channels.
Bigger channels have had that.
Yeah, it's a lot of bigger channels. It's not just black and white channels. It's the popular ones too. The best solution is to report the spam. That will slow it down because over time, you know, what I've noticed, the couple of days they turn them off. But some of them do come back, but it's at night. At daytime, you don't see them in the stream. But at nighttime, over here, it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Fucking yeah.
Yeah. And I've noticed that. I was like, that's a pattern. Okay, I see what they're trying to do. Because, you know, it's like the whole world spins, right? That's what they go by. But those spammers, they don't really last long. Because I think Google and Facebook is dealing with that. I think this is an all internet problem in the 5G shit. How they gonna deal with bots and trolls? Well, trolls could be defeated. You can throw away these bot accounts and things like that. They're seeing what.
Don't forget sock puppet accounts.
The sock puppet and all that stuff. They don't last that long.
You see the repeat of the same shit that happened when you had 4G introduced.
Yeah.
It's the same. Available, but the infrastructure wasn't set up for them just yet. Because when 4G came out, a lot of people were still on 2G and 3G at the time. This one, even if they're introduced in 5G, you still have people who've yet to join 4G, especially in certain parts of the world. So it's gonna take a while for that transition. It's gonna be a lot of growing pains, and like you said, there's gonna be some mix-ups and some problems with the original devices that are 5G. Maybe later down the line, they'll have some improvements, and by then the infrastructure will be set up properly. Because one thing a lot of people complain is there's been a lot of conspiracy theories regarding 5G, and we're not going to go there. It's a little futile.
Yeah, let's not.
I mean, technically, I know what they meant. It's cap. It's been proven false. Ain't no conspiracy. It's proven false. That's been debunked. I would say 2 years. Well, actually 3 years. No one cares. Yeah. That shit was debunked when they first came out with that shit. I've heard about it.
When the shutdowns came out here we can say 2 years now.
I heard it on several channels. They destroyed that. They destroyed that argument. It's pathetic, and it's not no truth to that. There's no evidence of people dying from 5G, and that's been debunked when Trump was in office. That was debunked when the election came, and people forgot about that bullshit. And they tell you, no, 5G, like I said, America wants to control the internet like they do in the military. China was trying to push that highway, and when that 19 virus came, they shut their shit down. That's why China's not really doing anything. They're reaching. You know, it's just the same shit like you said. Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things. But when you have that type of internet prowess, like I said, all the stuff like the warp speed and all that, they work on that. But once you deal with the actual internet, it depends on who gets it. And they're going to charge the shit out of you because 5G, they ain't made the phones that are durable. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
They're not ready. They're just rolling out some of it like prematurely without having it properly sorted out. I mean, like I said, it's the same shit that happened when you had 4G. I mean, you had a lot of 4G devices, but a lot of them still had 3G capability because the infrastructure wasn't completely there to accommodate the new devices.
Yeah,
you still have
that's
a lot
what
of
5G is. It's a rip off of 4G capability. That's what it's like. It's the same thing on your phone. The problem is when you get 5G, it's fiber optic. Some of it ain't gonna be fiber optic. You still gonna have the boxes. Because see, everybody wants 6G. 6G that's nearly finished. It's kind of like the drones and shit, what they use. But the 5G, it's just like 4G. It ain't nothing impressive. People
5G basically is fifth generation.
Yeah, it's fifth generation. I'm saying
YouTube channel it's got. Yeah, I know. Like I said, there's a couple of YouTube channels I watch that are about technology and such. So they explain what it's all about.
Yeah,
and I just love these things. It's about engineering, electrical stuff. Even though I personally do not have the head for engineering per se, but it's just good. It's just fun to learn that stuff because it may come in handy. Because what is it? Somebody once said, it's not how much knowledge you gain or acquire, it's how much of it you can apply to your usual life, or how much of it can come in useful.
But what I'm saying, like in usage, I've heard certain people, they tried it out overseas, and even 2 years ago, even back then or 3 years ago, and they said it ain't nothing special. When it first came out, it felt like 4G capabilities. Yeah, because the infrastructure was bad. Even if it's good, it still is gonna have some problems. That's why a lot of people didn't transition to 5G. The problem is how you gonna make it better than if you're going to next in the 6th generation. That's near future stuff. That ain't gonna happen. That's a problem. It's gonna be the same problem. That's just the internet for you. Overseas internet is different. I know people, they get it for less price or free, whatever, but over here it's more restrictive because we use a lot of what you call television and things like that. I don't know how they're gonna deal with the TV networks if you're into sports and all that stuff, and how they get their internet.
Well, streaming services might be the way to go because
yeah.
Not to mention, it's like, in certain countries, I mean, if you look at a lot of the U.S., they're still on landline.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because a lot of the U.S., given how big it is, how expansive it is, from coast to coast, deep in the central area, especially in the Midwest and the prairies and everything like that, that whole region. The Rocky Mountain, and first, I mean the Central Time Zone and the Midwest and the Rocky Mountain Time Zone. A lot of folks in those places are still on landline. A lot of places in rural counties, they're still on landline.
Right.
A lot of them are basically still stuck on 2G when you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Little no investment on infrastructure and whatnot, improvements.
Yeah, it depends on the states that you're talking about, but not all of them's on 2G. Most of them's on 3G, technically. And the sad part is, I'm talking about like 3G. Like if you're in counties like, I want to say Georgia's different. They deal with 4 and 3. They do both. But other places like in the South, like I give you Mississippi, I give you Arkansas, I can give you Oklahoma, I can give you the rest. But Tennessee, technically they on 3 and 4. Well, I've noticed the past couple of years back, they was on that. See, 5G was a new thing in talks until 2019 came around. They gave that conspiracy nonsense. But the funny thing was, it's been debunked. Nobody's died from it. That's why I've noticed it's the fiber optic. And I saw that like 3 years ago when I moved in another county, and I've noticed it became standard procedure, but the problem is it's the infrastructure, the combination, how fast the internet's going to be, how it can handle the lightning strikes and shit like that. Because since they put the wires already in the ground, Georgia's known for that. This is before they had the internet and things like that. That's how they put the electricity in the ground. And I didn't understand why they did that. And now I understand why there was no power outages down here. Like where I'm from, you get that a lot. Here, it's like when you hit and the lights go back on and things like that. But the governor, I think on that road on West Pacey's, when I was in the apartment, when the lights went out, you get them back on in a couple of hours. There's a difference. I was like, wow. See, that's that privilege. If you live across the street or down the street from like the apartment where his government's mansion is and the state house or on West Pacey's, that's a privilege. A lot of people got jealous on that strip.
that
And people
grid.
say,
Right.
yeah, that grid, and people get mad. They say, how you get your power back? Well, if you're on the government road, you get your power back even when the snows came in. But that's what it was. I mean, certain grids work for certain people. Some people got special privilege controlling electricity and things like that. But that's how the U.S. is. This is why a lot of people don't like the internet over here. They rather go overseas internet versus that. Yeah, that's because y'all don't have a. I don't want to say I can't say totalitarian. I can't say authoritarian, but I'll say like a corporate control structure. You don't have that. Like y'all know how to use it, but y'all don't use it like what we do for like 24 hours. That's the problem.
In the EU, you have stricter regulations regarding that.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
although
y'all use it like 50
there's
minutes.
stricter standard. There's like a stricter standard. The standards are more stricter. That's why a lot of corporations can't get away with some of the shit they do in the U.S. and Canada. I mean, well, in Canada, I'm not sure, but in the U.S., you guys are deregulated like fuck. Over there, there's just some serious regulations because they understand, yes, corporate profits, but they cannot clash with public health and public safety. Otherwise, you're going to have some liable laws, some liable cases right there. So they want to reduce that.
I think the most y'all can use, and I think the most y'all use, I'll say hour to 2 hours to 3 hours is the max. Y'all don't use that much. And sometimes be 50 minutes. I've seen countries like that's the most you can use. Now over here, we go over like 6 hours.
The best internet, the best place for internet within the EU, they say is Estonia. That's an interesting thing. A small country.
That's true.
I mean, they've made it like a basic human right for people to have access to the internet.
Yeah.
Other countries, they have it. They also, but also depends on who is your
provider.
Like here in Scandinavia, who's your provider? I mean, some of them they're provided by certain telecoms, others is by certain cable companies.
Yeah,
or a subsidiary that works with a cable TV company.
I will say our cable company is in Philly, Comcast. That's Xfinity.
The Spectrum. Comcast. Okay.
Yeah, that's the drawback with them. And not only nothing against Philly, I love Philly, but it's just. They got to do better. I mean, you're competing against other telecoms. A lot of people don't trust them. They rather trust the cell phones like the German one, like T-Mobile or AT&T and Verizon. That's it.
Yeah.
But other countries, they have different perspectives of how they live.
Each country has its own policy, but it's within EU standards. Not to mention telecoms there that they have, like you have in certain telecoms. They one another.
Got me, but okay, cool. Appreciate you, man.
What?
Gotta get some sleep. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Peace.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, it's 4 a.m. over here. He's right.
Yeah,
it's 4 a.m. over here. Yeah, he's in the same time zone with me. So yeah.
Same time zone. Yeah, that's about right.
Enhanced utility. Yeah, you're right. South Korea too. South Korea's also got some of the best internet.
Oh, they always them Asians, they always gonna have good.
South Korea, Japan,
Japan. Well, North Korea do too. Even though it's totalitarian, they do too. But they're strict. Yeah. But the good thing about him is
stiff restrictions.
Here's the thing about him. What I've noticed on the documentary of him when they talked about him and his rule, and even now, he don't let you go crazy over it. That's a good thing I will say it's not bad. It's a good thing, especially for the kids. They don't let them stay on 24 hours. Over here, our kids, it's barbaric, man. Like they be on YouTube for like
same shit here.
Hours on hours, and it's just ridiculous at this point. Overseas is a lot different. How they treat their kids, and I understand why. Because they don't want to be influenced about, because our corporate shit is something else, especially in sports. And I understand, but sports is not bad. But I will say the entertainment, the music, things like that, the goofy stuff that we do. But that's a whole nother.
Oh man, I'm glad I grew up. That's what I can say about that.
Yeah, I did too.
It's just like, but since we're talking about this shit about social media and shit, like I mentioned in the previous chat, like Mr. Z mentioned one documentary called "Social Dilemma" that's on Netflix.
Right.
That's one thing you should check out because it talks about the dangers of the algorithms you see on things like Google and Netflix and whatnot, and some of the people involved in the tech industry. They're talking about that. Former employees of such social media apps, even after consulting their lawyers, of course.
Yeah.
There's also, if anybody's got HBO or HBO Max, there's also a documentary I'm checking out called After Truth regarding the whole phenomena on fake news, which is related to that because, like we were talking about, conspiracies about 5G and shit and COVID and everything. Because, like, some people are trying to say 5G is related to COVID. You also see that in both documentaries.
Oh yeah.
So this is what's, and the problem is like, thankfully, I'm not sure about y'all with your education system, what y'all were like in the education system, but when I was younger, because I went to the U.S. system in my younger years, we were encouraged to use our critical thinking skills. And that's always stuck with me ever since. But this generation is something else, man.
Oh yeah, they don't have it. I mean, I was taught that. I would say from first grade. I took it first grade. I was held back an extra year, but in our generation when we was coming up, that was a must. Back then, the internet wasn't as great, and I tell people that we were not the generation of that. It was more in the late '80s and above. We had to use critical thinking skills. Even yours truly, and we did it. And especially in the '90s, if you read and went to the library, you was something. And after that, even
the library was cool.
Yeah. It was cool. Yeah. You learned a lot of shit. There was notes, homework, math assignments, social studies. He did the shit. And I had a good teacher too. Even though he was Native American in 6th grade, taught me a lot. And that's how I expand my knowledge. And then after that, when I got out, I learned a lot more. Even the internet, it was a step up. But when you have the books behind you, that's a different story. My content was different back then. Still period to this day.
Access to information was different at the time. The thing is, you just don't know how to filter that shit properly, and nobody's like cross-referencing shit like this, that, because you can go read in one book, but if you read like several books about it, because like BGS mentioned, I have to mention that he's mentioned that you have to go to like read at least 4 or 5 books that cross-reference everything. That way, you know where the truth is, because everybody's going to give you a certain perspective, but you got to make sure nobody's like cherry picking or something like that, because people aren't dealing with truth; they're just dealing in narratives.
Yeah, narratives is popular, it's nuanced, but the funny thing is, if you break it down,
that's the problem with that's the problem with narratives right there, Oni. Sorry, Zoro. It's narratives. You know the difference between simplification and oversimplification. First of all,
I know the difference between the two. Yeah, lay it out, man.
Does anybody else know? Simplification is basically means you explain things in a way that people can comprehend in a simplified manner. Oversimplification, however, is not the same. What that does is like there's an overemphasis on certain points. But what it does is it takes out it takes out context. So you simplify something, you put things in a way that people can understand simply in a simple manner. And that if they're willing to take a look at it.
Yeah.
And then from that simple explanation, they can piece by piece see the complex intricacies of that thing. So if they're willing to look into it, it basically gives them the first step to enter the complexities of everything. So they understand it. It's entry level stuff. Oversimplification is you just paintbrush everything or just broad stroke everything.
Yeah, that's
taking
true.
Taking out context. If there's no context, there's no place for nuance, and you're just dealing in narratives.
Yeah.
And sometimes you oversimplify just to be dismissive.
Yeah, oversimplifying, overemphasizing things. A lot of times people do that. They just want see what sticks. They throw it against the wall, and that's what a lot of people I've noticed on YouTube. Because back years ago, it used to not be like that.
Monkey
but now,
shit or spaghetti.
Yeah. It's like see a stick, and that's why you got narratives and echo chambers. And I understand why. Back in the day, you couldn't do that. You had to challenge detractors. And what I saw what BGS did with Big J, I'm impressed because Big J had to lay it out on him, and that's why I want to issue that discussion. What was the purpose of
How many times has
challenging
he
him on
battled
the?
him? How many times have they had discussions? I wonder.
Oh, they had that
'Cause-
discussions like years ago. It goes back to 2015, and now because he's
I mean,
always been
like-
titles in his videos.
Oh
I'm curious.
yeah, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, when VGS used to have all the had the Coliseum and everything. The dude would pop up every once in a while.
Mhm.
I do remember that, and it was my.
I think he was one of the first. I think he was one of the first people that's really referred to as a flying monkey from the old Wizard of Oz.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking
shit.
about. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Big J battled Cerulean, BGS, but he's kind of agreeing with Cerulean now because they have a different perspective now, because BGS and Cerulean, they're kind of like neutral. But here's the thing though. He respects him though. He respects him on this point. So I like to see that. But the problem is Cerulean's doing his thing, so I'm not trying to pressure him to come through here. He's always welcome. He's always welcome. Like I just see him. I see him all the time. If I see him in the chat or if I'm doing a vlog stream, if I have a unique topic or something political, he's gonna come through. It's just automatic. And I'm just gonna tell you why. Because if I lay it out a challenge and the people ain't ready for it, you know what I'm saying? And it's theirs. But I'm glad he didn't hit the link and bother nobody because he normally does, and people definitely ain't gonna hit the link now because they don't want to get challenged. And that's the thing. See, I try to be by myself too. I can do that. And the whole purpose is, if I ever ask, BGS, because I've been on panels with him multiple times, like 15 times each on different platforms. And him on panels as a panelist and a host is similar. The difference is as a host, he's got a lot of power. Panelist, not so much, but his presence alone is intriguing, and you just listen to him speak, and I just let him speak, and we take turns talking, and that's what it was. Even on Art of Itmore's one time, that last time we was on a panel, it was talking about DMX and all that stuff, and then interesting conversation. That's just what it was. That's all I'm gonna say about that because that was the last time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Instant conversation, but no, it was good until they talk about their typical stuff. But that's the last.
Oni, you want to switch avatars?
Nah, I think I like.
No, because you do a better. You sound like the clown when you laugh like that. I was thinking maybe this motherfucker must have been. Did this guy ever listen to John Leguizamo's portrayal of the clown?
That was one of my childhood movies. So I'm not.
Spawn.
So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna object to that, but it's like my laughs could go either way, either go with the clown or it'll be on some diabolical shit.
Say, fam, if you can do me a favor and go check out and subscribe to me and my team's channel. It's For the Record TV. We go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. A lot of people over there, talking about Shonda. He's talking about Shonda.
Who is it?
Very good.
Third Ward.
I do recommend.
Yeah. For the Record TV. Yeah, they have a good show. They talk about various things. Yeah, I be on panels over there. I'm subscribed. They talk about a lot of things. They don't talk about relationships as much. The good thing is they have different perspectives. Well, Topaz is a part of that team because there was part with Kenny Conjo and Bitcoin L, and Bitcoin in third is pretty cool. It was 4 people, but it ended up being 3. So but they was talking about
you're gonna have clashes. That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
Now, right there, folks. This is me simplifying things. This isn't oversimplification. It's just simplifying.
Well, Kenny did his own thing. It wasn't no clash. He had to do his own thing because it wasn't going to.
Yeah, that's it. Eventually, you guys can't be always. Eventually, people are gonna rift apart because you guys have your own directions. Eventually, but as long as you part ways on good terms, it's cool.
I tell you where they had a clash. Fourth Quarter Talk TV. Third can tell you better, and the reason being he didn't like the guy. He had problems with another individual, another sector. And that's how they split. And then they called it For the Record TV, which I like them. And they had Project Pack on a stream once.
Project Pack?
Yeah, they have it on the channel.
The Project Pack?
Yeah.
From 360?
Yeah.
It all started from Bitcoin L and him and Third Ward. And they got that started. And it was one of the reasons to give him that interview. And I think he subscribed to me, but Brandon will tell you best. He's the only one that came through on that channel. And when I first saw their channel, I saw him on there, and they mentioned that's how I found their channel based off that. And I was looking at that, I was impressed. They had a good show, and then I instantly subscribed. And I think it was like, I believe, was it last year? Yeah, I believe it was last year. Yeah, last year, and I was impressed. After that, I fell in love with their channel last year. But this year, I was on it last Saturday, impressed. And we had fun. We talked off air. We talked about various things. But I've heard Oni, Captain, I heard DS1 is gonna bring the comedy hour. I know he's gonna bring that back. Yeah. I don't know how he's gonna implement it. Yeah. I heard that from Roni, but I don't know what he's gonna do with it. But it's gonna be fun.
The comedy hour?
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, he has it every Saturday night, but I always check him out.
Yeah, I mean, cause shit, if it's one reason.
Yeah, but he's taking a long break, but he'll be back. You know, he has to recover some things. Probably on vacation. It's cool, and I respect him. You know, shots at DS1. I see him around on YouTube, but he's looking back. You know, doing things.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna do my content regardless because I know it's a winter and things like that. So yeah,
you got to do what you got to do. I mean, some people are on vacation, others are just hibernating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
If it's okay with you, I'll drop the link to the Project Bag interview. Yeah, go ahead, Third. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Go ahead.
Third Ward. I'm kind of curious about Third Ward's name. I mean, Third Ward, was it like reference to a neighborhood
That's
in
Houston. That's in Houston.
Oh, in Houston? Because, you know, like when I think of Ward, I'm thinking
he grew up in I think he grew up in Houston. Even though that's how he got the name, and even though he's Colombian descent, that's because his mom's. And he tell you, and I think it'd be an interesting discussion if he was on the panel, but he don't have to come right now. I know he's busy with things, but you know, it's no need.
Oh, okay. Because I thought, because when he said Third Ward, I was thinking like maybe like the wards of New Orleans or something like that.
Well, you got them in Louisiana, Texas. You know, the wards. I understand.
I didn't know. I never heard of. I never knew that about the wards. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, but that's the South. That's how they was back then. I think the French, Spanish, and all them wards and stuff. It's historical stuff. I had a Native American teacher broke that down to me. I said, "Oh, I see. Okay, that's interesting." But you know, I didn't get into those topics like that. You know, it's been a while since I studied like that. So yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, much appreciated, Third Ward.
Houston has sections, we call them wards in Houston. Yeah.
Okay.
Like New Orleans. Yeah, that's right.
Gracias, Comandante.
Yeah. Comandante Lou.
Comandante.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's always a supporter. I met him.
Oh, wait, why did I say like a Portuguese? One of the things I like to do sometimes is like, you know, when I find a name, I try to find out how they're pronounced in other languages.
Yeah.
You know, like Lou, was that short for Lewis? Right. Third Ward's the largest one in South. My man.
Yeah, he told you before on the Dre's. I think it was off air, I believe. Yeah, off air. Yeah, he told you off air.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he did tell me.
Yeah, he did.
What up? Oh, that's how we say it, because he told me his on his mom's side they speak Tigrinya, which is my mother tongue. So I just said Howe, which means my brother in my mother tongue.
Yeah.
Man. So, but anyway, like I said, it's like learning like Lou is like usually short for Lewis, right? So I'm thinking, because in Spanish and Portuguese it's Luis or Luis, as they say in Portuguese. Most European names, Louis would be Ludwig. Italian is Luigi. In French is Louis. I'm not sure what it is in. I don't think they have it in any Slavic kind of languages though. But you'll find that name in common in like in parts of Africa, like you know, like in the French-speaking parts. You know, but usually like it's a combination. Like it'd be like Pierre Louis, or oh no, sorry, that's Italian. Actually, in Italian it's Pierre Luigi, but in French it's Pierre Louis. No, Pierre Louis means Peter Lou or Père Ludwig, as I would say in like certain languages. But you get the drift.
Yeah,
it's cool. I will say this: there are actually Ethiopians, Eritreans who intermarry with Latinos. I mean, what was it? I know, was it? They are familiar with Latinos in the sense that like the first Latinos that set foot in the region were Cubans, and yeah, they were Cubans mostly, and a lot of the Cubans.
There you go.
Legendary 360. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Thanks, fam.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I remember my pops used to tell me like what it was like in the 70s. It was a different time. And a lot of Cubans and Russians started showing up because of after the military junta came to power. And a lot of Eritreans, because they learned from their parents and grandparents how to speak Italian. So when the Cubans came, they couldn't communicate with a lot of people because most of them didn't speak English, and not many people, Ethiopians were educated like that. So when they saw like Eritrean and Ethiopian, they were like, "Oye, so habla español?" They would understand, unless the Italian himself said, "How do you say? Sono parla italiano. Come sta?" And that's how I was able to communicate with each other. So a lot of them are familiar with Spanish and whatnot, to that extent. In fact, you've had Eritreans who went overseas to Cuba and other Spanish-speaking places for education. So a lot of them speak, if they were exposed to Spanish, it was mostly the Cuban form until they immigrate to other parts of the world. And, like Third Ward's family, they intermarried and had like, Afro-Latinos that way.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting mix. But then again, you've also had a lot of Africans who are Latino in a sense, because, but not like when it comes to Spanish, you got like countries like in West Africa called Equatorial Guinea. They speak Spanish, but a lot of them also speak French because they're mostly surrounded by francophones. Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, the islands of Sao Tome and Principe, they were Portuguese colonies, so they speak Portuguese. And if they end up like in parts of, if they end up in Latin America, they can get by in Portuguese. But although some people might think they're Brazilian, but say no. Yo soy Africa Este, as I would say. I'm West African. Yo soy de Mozambique. Yo soy de Angola. Or let's say yo soy Angolero, is what the Angolan would say. It's really interesting stuff. How those European languages still there, especially the French ones. But yeah. But anyway, getting back on topic, this thing about embracing being an independent thinker, I can tell you from my experience, it's not easy. Because you understand there's a concept of conformity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like some of us have traditional societies, when we start to think outside the box, they see it as a threat. They think there's something wrong with you. Or sometimes they're afraid you're going to get into some, especially in certain parts of the world where it's not safe to be an independent thinker.
Yeah. Sure is.
Especially, we want to talk about thought policing.
Oh yeah.
You think this woke culture shit's thought policing? You should see what it's like in totalitarian societies.
Oh
history,
yeah.
Or authoritarian societies. Independent thought, independent thinking. You were not allowed to. Intellectuals.
Even worse. Yeah,
Sheesh.
That's even worse.
Oh, God damn.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Especially
you're a prisoner of conscience.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It was the fourth largest in the country, but it might end up being the third. The third is already the third largest right now because the largest city, Chicago, because a lot of people's moving there. Houston's got the jobs and the the military stuff, the space. It's a space city too, because all the munitions and things that even Austin, Texas is huge. It was going to be its own
Austin, they
country in
also got a lot of people
2013.
moving to Austin too, especially from
Yeah,
California. A lot of people moving to
yeah.
Austin.
I would say in 2013, one time they was going to be their own country, and RT reported Russia Today, right? But Obama put a halt to that shit. It wasn't gonna work because you had blacks, brown people, what you call Latin or the Hispanic word, whatever. I don't even call them that. I just call them Latin people, brown Americans, whatever, because everybody's mixed up with different cultures. But them, the Caucasians and black folks, they had like a team. They was like they want to be like the people overseas in the country, kind of like the UN type shit, right? Obama
Yeah.
didn't want that shit to happen. He said, He put a halt to that shit and and forced them to pick a side or some shit. I was like, what the fuck? But that was 2013. I'll never forget that. I was trying to my
We're
pops
talking about
once
Texas
at that
trying
time.
to secede from the Union. How long has it been? I mean,
Yeah, and all
after
that
like
shit.
what?
Like, yeah, they was looking at it from the country. Texas was trying to see from the country, and then Obama wasn't having that shit. He put a halt to that shit. He said, "Sit your ass down, boy." Yeah,
Well, it was kind of hard to tell somebody to sit his ass. Well, I'm sure it was hard to tell the governor to sit his ass down, considering he is seated. I mean, their current governor is in a wheelchair,
yeah.
so that's a little redundant to tell him to sit his ass down. But it is what it is. But then again, it's still a red state, and there's still a lot of people who aren't open-minded. What do you think? There's some people with authoritarian leanings who don't like the change, and everybody's just like, and like we said about the whole thing about fake news, you see so many people who are not using
Correct.
their critical thinking critical thinking skills. People just bugging out, especially because you got things like Google, and the algorithm being the way it is, it's been like kind of slanted, so people have to use other web search engines. I mean, I don't even use Google or Google Chrome, to be honest. I mean, I use DuckDuckGo and Brave. I mean, I would try the Microsoft Explorer, but something about it
use
just tells me
Explorer like that. I used Firefox. That's it.
Bing. Firefox is cool, but it's just not as efficient sometimes.
Yeah. I use Firefox on Windows. That's it. I don't like them other browsers like that. I'm funny like
Mozilla is a kind of cool company. I mean, I remember when I was watching
good
Social
browsers
Dilemma.
out there. I forget their names. My dad knows a lot of good browsers because he's a tech person, even though he's an auditor, but he knows all the tech stuff on the software side. Huh?
Qwant. QWANT. That's one. Because I remember somebody, one of the people that were interviewed in the Social Dilemma documentary, they say, who is a programmer, they say, I don't use Google, I use Qwant for my shit. And of course, you have things like I think is it Oracle. They have their own. So yeah, I should use this more often. This Quant, I need to use this more often. It seems pretty effective.
Yeah. Well, I'm on a Chrome computer, but it can handle StreamYards. I'm amazed. Even though Windows does too, but Chrome is just slick for some reason. It's like a internet laptop. It's not a laptop, but it's internet. You gotta have Wi-Fi with it. Without it, it just won't function. And I understand why it's odd. Yeah. I can't stand that. But I think my dad lent it to me for once. I have two laptops. I have a Windows one, and I got this one. This one I just use for YouTube. I'm not using it for anything. But if I get another one, a Windows got one similar to this. I forget what it's called. It's a Windows, something similar to a Chrome, internet-based Wi-Fi. I forget the name of it, but it's better than this. I mean, yeah, I'll use Firefox. That's it, and then have some of my social medias. That's it. Not much, but this one's kind of like, I'm using it for YouTube only for this channel only. That's it. I usually stream on the phone one time last year, and I said, I liked it, but I didn't like it. I understand. I don't see how
too much information. It takes up too much information on your phone. On your phone, everything on your phone's all storage.
Yeah, that's why I use.
Even if you have a SD card in there, this still going to put a strain on it because you can't, transfer certain things off from the phone onto the.
That's why I like the laptop. It's better, and that's why I always.
That's why people have to clear their cache every so often. You got to clear that cache every so often.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
See, on my recordings, I can keep the pictures I want if I decide to delete them or not. I don't post a lot of pictures on this one. I got a lot on my other one, on my Windows, because it's an actual laptop. You know, it's an actual laptop. It's not like this one.
Yeah, I hear.
Yeah, that's the one. You can use microphones on that as well, and software and all that. See, Windows got all the cute little buttons and shit like that, but Google don't have that. It has less. So that's why I ain't trying to buy nothing extravagant on this one. I just try to be less usable. You know, yeah, you can use anything. I mean, this Chrome is something else. I do my research, what's compatible, what's not, you know, because the mic I'm using, it goes good on any laptop, any system that you got. And that's a good thing. You know, I just stick with the plug and play or basic, you know, but I ain't trying to be expensive with people with those 7B mics. I'm not doing that. That is when you have the interface and then you have the better computers like that. But yeah, Apple's good. And I told Dre, yeah, Apple's good, but sometimes Windows is better because of the software. Because I've seen what did Kuda told me. He said they got good USB mics. They got them good. I said they're always good. They're gonna get better every year. The XLR cables don't last long. Even they break too. All of them break. USB and them. You just gotta take care of them. The trick is if you keep them tied up and stored right in cooler areas, they last long. Even the things to connect it with, it's a trick with those. They do break. If you leave them loose, you got to store that shit, put it in a bag, whatever. And I've noticed that, and my shit always works. That's why I take care of my shit. Like I never have problems with any equipment. I can give it to somebody, and his shit works. It works. You know, as long as you don't damage it, you're good. You know, you got to take care of certain things. It's just like computers. It's all technical, small engineering. It's not bad. You know, you just got to learn to take care of your shit. You know, most people tear up shit. I've noticed that when I see videos and streams and pre-records, they stuff breaks. Is it my stuff broke? Well, you got to take care of it. What you done? You unstepped on it and shit. You got to pay $100 to fix your microphone and shit. Like, what the fuck? But you know, but some people like that. They don't see what breaks. That's what I mean by people when they throw what you call it, narratives. See if hit the wall, see if it sticks. That's a saying. You know, some people say that, you know, they ain't making no damn sense. But you know, they overemphasize or simplify things too much. A lot of people love it because especially on live streams, they start screaming and yelling and they want all this attention. He's like, got you. You know, all that silly shit. And then when they get exposed in person, and that's it.
There's a YouTube channel I check out called it's an esoteric channel, and they talked about the whole concept of glamour and discourse.
Yeah.
And when I looked at it, I understood this is why I don't like watching. And somebody who has his own head issues. This is why I don't like going on Facebook sometimes, because like when people post that shit, that just like unnerves me, and it just like triggers my depression. But that's what the glamour is. It just taps into your insecurities. Discourse is. Oh, he wasn't. Oh, sorry, Shonda. Thanks for correcting me on that. Much appreciated.
Appreciate you for coming.
Greg Abbott. Appreciate that as well. Good night. Yeah, because you know our favorite mother trucker, A.L. Evans, he talks about Greg Abbott a lot, with the utmost disdain and contempt, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I saw him last night on Arts. You know, he was on the panel, and they was arguing with this Ragnarok breaker. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's cool. Ragnarok. Yeah, that dude, that white boy. But BGS and them and Art, I discussed that during the stream. They had a fit with him last night about that critical race theory, the CTR thing. But it all started with Clue Channel. You know, what we call those trim boys over there. But that's just so funny, man.
Oh, I take exception. Considering I'm in Scandinavia, I got to take exception to people using. I have to be very cross when I see people using certain names like that, because I'm wondering.
Yeah,
you want to?
But he's from Canada. This dude is from Canada though. And why are these Canadians using CRT? Your country is, well, I ain't gonna say socialist. I mean, some parts of Canada is, and some is just like ours.
It's a mixed thing, you know. Most
a
Europe,
mixed
most of
thing.
Europe
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
combination of of capitalism and socialism. It's a
Those
mixed
them
thing.
together, but Montreal's a little different. I think it's similar like France system. The difference is in Quebec, or some people pronounce it Quebec or something like that.
Quebec.
That
No, the French
place,
pronoun. No,
yeah,
Quebec is the French pronunciation.
yeah,
The
yeah. That's
French
how
is
they say it.
pronounced Quebec.
Yeah, they'll say Quebec, Quebec. Yeah, something like
Montreal,
that. Some people,
Quebec.
yeah.
Uh,
But I think what America pronounce it, we always call it Quebec in the
Quebec.
English.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's the
That's
English
how we
pronunciation.
pronounce it, and they let us slide. I don't know what it is. Like they told me that years ago. I said, "Oh, okay." They understand what you're talking about. They said, "Okay." It's weird to
Yeah.
me, but that's a whole nother topic I can talk about. And I met some people that's from that area, and yeah, it is like a French culture. I mean, you got other French parishes, but that one's the biggest because it's kind of like Paris and them other places. You see the statues and shit like that, but. And I was looking at Ragged and I was going to ask him in the chat, what province in Canada you from, man? Where you get all this information about CRT? And B just kept asking. He said, "What's the answer? What's the answer?" And he didn't want to answer, try to cuss him out and everything. But I'm glad Art dropped.
He was just he was just there to antagonize people. That's all he
Yeah.
was. He was just goading and getting people's attention. It does frustrate BGS when you have to deal with things like that because
Yeah.
years ago he it wasn't a rant he put, but he explained how he deserved better trolls. And me being me, I showed up on a session on one of his hangouts, and used and for my avatar it was a troll in accordance with Scandinavian culture, with Scandinavian folklore, and this troll was holding the flag of where I'm from, of where I'm at. And he looked at me, he's like, "What the hell's what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, sir, you said you deserve better trolls, so I figured I'd be your designated troll just for shits and giggles." Which is, that's what I do. I like to bring the positive through laughter and humor. But yeah, I understood what he meant because back then, the trolls during his day, especially like on chat sites, back when the internet was what it was back then. Some of them were really sharp, well educated, well thoughtful, very antagonistic, and they're very cerebral in how they were trying to disrupt the conversations. It's a digression. It's been a regression of sorts. I mean, it's like that. It's like reverse woke when you think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oni, you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah, he's listening.
I'm listening.
He always do that.
I don't know. Maybe he's like practicing qigong in the background. In the background, maybe.
No, he always do that. Like these topics, and especially this one, because he was on my very first one, I believe. I'm not sure when I started. It was
I'll be
last
listening.
year.
I
Yeah,
definitely be listening.
yeah.
I don't know.
But that
It get me. You get a little quiet. It get me scared sometimes because the quiet ones you gotta be scared.
Nah, I just don't like to disrupt conversations. That's all.
Yeah, that's his thing. That's his thing. But
By the way, we got to get you a Bill Cosby sweater for Easter. I know I missed Christmas,
Easter?
but it is. Yeah, well, for Easter we got to get him. I missed Christmas. I forgot what to send him for Christmas. Something for Christmas. Anyway.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But
But that
messing with
Monday
you.
stream, like I think when I started on as a Monday stream, that third one I did, thank goodness I did because that helped my content even more. And I said, let me take this dead area Monday, and I'm glad I did it every other Monday. But next Monday I'll be free, but the Monday after next I'll do this again because this is kind of like one of the things I'm gonna keep, because this is a good discussion. Just start middle of the week before hump day when we get to that infamous topic of anarchism, because that's gonna be a good discussion. But yeah, pull some information out, find some research, because that was a good discussion with me and Cerrone had talking about the energy, the wind farms and shit, like why they don't want it. I might have to mention PragerU. Look at their website, what they talking about, but they big on YouTube, so.
Oh yeah, but they've been easily debunked. You ever watch some channels that debunk everything they say? A lot of the stuff they talk about.
Yeah,
because you know where they're
yeah,
coming from, but there's a level of intellectual dishonesty.
yeah. One thing I can say, they write about the emissions here. I give them credit because the smog and all that. Yeah, that's so true. I've heard that before. Now the nuclear
Yeah, like the
shit,
LA smog.
that's one side. Yeah, that's one sided. A lot of people say it's gonna have. Nah, it's false because anybody can know. The only way you can have that is anybody got nukes, but they ain't gonna do a damn thing. They're too scared to do it. They try all they want to. But the stealth tactics ruin everything. That's why the military is so fragmented. You got private militaries, military industrial complex. They don't want to touch that conversation. That's a small conversation. I mean, the information's out. I think Dre said it. Yeah, it's true. It's good to have it, but you got to keep it on a not a base level, but kind of like a fair level. You know what I mean? You can have your positives and negatives, but here's the thing. What the general told me, he said, which would you rather have? Do you want to die in an urban city, or are you going to be safe in the military and die peacefully? And he gave me a choice, and I said, nah, I ain't going to die in an urban city because number one, we do kill each other over here. I do agree with that because the guns manufactured by NRA and certain military groups, and that's it.
Cheap and
But
easy to make.
the military, they give you procedures that you don't guarantee for survival. But actually, there is no guarantee, but it depends on how you deal with your safety. There is some guarantee. I ain't gonna say it's all, but it depends on who you pair with. Because I think one of them told me when I used to work, it depends on who you pair with. You don't have control who you're paired with. And I think Dre said the same thing. Yeah, it's out of your control. He said, what did Dre told me? You're better safe than the water. He said, you know what the safe is? Before he said that. And I said, you know what the safest place is in the safety of all time and as human beings, even in the military? He said, what is it? Is it the air? He said, nope. He said, the water. You know why?
Oh yeah,
you
the
don't
Navy.
have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about being blown up in the air, running in place. Everything is controlled. And I was like, see. Some people and CJ kept saying the air is more safe than, Army guys think the opposite. They say, oh, that's safer. And I'm like, no, the water's safer.
Oh no,
and
when they get into those discussions, get out of the way. Step out of that. Sir, you got to step out because, when Navy, Army, Marines, when they have those discussions, sometimes you just better just step out.
He did that on his panel, but I let him have it. You know why I let him have it? Because I understand. He was trying to tell me, he said, yeah, the safer. I kind of agree with him, but then I looked at him like, let me ask Dre, which one's safer? And he told me the water, and I said, yeah, I have to agree. The water it depends on where you're at, if you're safer in certain environments. Because there's control. I hate to say it, the water has more power than you think. Some people say it don't, but it does. It does.
The water is the weakest and strongest element of the 5.
That's it. Yeah. Some people don't understand that. Yeah. I always thought it was the land, but I said, the water's got power. They forget. Me and Dre had a long discussion about the depths and the mountains that used to be above ground. And he said, yeah, people don't realize that in the ocean. It's too much. We had a long conversation about that too. I said, that's very true. I need to talk about stuff like that more often instead of the land shit. It's not safe. But yeah and no. It's on people that, like you said, got headed. Yeah, it's some crazy people over here too. In the street. It depends.
I know that for sure. I know that for sure.
Yeah. I see why people like the water. I understand, I understand. I mean, it's dangerous in the sea.
Has anybody ever heard of the USS Indianapolis and that disaster?
I haven't heard of it, but I've heard people mention it. But yeah.
There was a movie based about that as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure if I want to watch that because that's like watching Jaws in a sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch an Animal Planet about that shit. Hang on a second.
Oh, hell, Grace. Oh.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, sorry, my brother sometimes gets on my nerves. He pulls me back because he just want to says, "What are you doing?" Nothing, boss. I'm just talking with Skeletor and everything. Come on, let me have my conversations. Anyway, watching like talking about the USS Indianapolis and what happened. People survived the shipwreck. They were trapped in the water, having to deal with tiger sharks and everything. So like you have to worry about that kind of disaster. And they were treading water for days until they were recovered. But even then, it was a disaster all the way. I wonder if anybody's ever. I mean, out in the water on boats, yeah, but submarines. That's another thing, because you've had disasters with submarines. I mean, like what the Russians had a disaster with a submarine. I
Yeah.
think with Indonesia they had some similar shit. So this whole thing's open for debate. Depends on which armed forces are dealing with the issue.
Yeah. It's a good debate, but the thing is, there's some disasters. But the trick is, depends on how you build your submarines. Now, some submarines can handle, but if you go too far in the ocean, the depths, like there used to be mountains before the ocean was vast. Oh, that's a whole nother, yeah. And me and Dre talked about this for like hours. I believe it was on Rashawn shit. I mean, on his panel, and I was like,
Yeah,
was
I
it?
remember.
Yeah. He said something about that, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But he was right. We had a long discussion about that. I think we need
Yeah,
to talk
that
about
was.
that again. Yeah, that was it's
Yeah.
historical facts. Like I used that website. Like they was talking about how the world was together, and we can add a piece. I did streams on that. That ain't nothing. Like even the military. Like if you look at the waters, what they are, but I would say the most dangerous is Atlantic, because you got a lot of shit down there. It's nasty looking, from perspective, But if someone told me if you ever travel in the Atlantic, you just gotta be careful. It's dark, A lot of research when they try to find old ships of the old buccaneers, what you would call pirates. It's a lot of shit down there, in certain regions. Now, the Caribbean is a little different. They say you can see the ocean floor down there, or the Bermuda Triangle and all that. That's a whole nother water. It's different. Pacific is kind of like you see the greenery, you see the darkness, you see the sharks, but it is what it is. It's a vast ocean. It's huge. Whew. Nice too. But the Navy knows about that Pacific. That you see a lot of things. But the Indian Ocean, quiet as it's kept, that's a whole nother beast. I think someone told me if you ever get caught in a wreck in a ship. Now I saw this on a video game on I believe the third game, Uncharted. Nathan thought he was, when the ship collapsed or something, he kind of like fell asleep and threw him all the way on the sand. I was like, damn, how did he got in that ocean? He ain't even drown. That's a weird ocean, but Indian Ocean, I don't know why they call it, but it's the way it looks. You hardly ever see no animals in there. So I see why. Oceans are different. It depends on what's in them and what's not. Mediterranean Sea, I think Dre told me something about that, and the Red Sea, a little different when you travel in those oceans and those waters. I was like,
I'm from that.
So you know all that.
I've been to the Red Sea. That's a scary shot. The Gulf, same way. Indian Ocean, Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Arabian Sea.
What about the Adriatic? What about the Adriatic Sea?
The Adriatic. What about the Aegean Sea, or how about the Baltic Sea?
Oh, the Aegean Sea. I think he said something like he said it was okay. It's just like it's a pretty good, interesting water. He told me, but we had a long talk about that. Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah,
Indian Ocean is something to think about, but like the Bay of Bengal, if you go.
For 3 years now, you're treading on dangerous ground.
Well, he's right about hurricane. With they had that hurricane and shit that fucked up Texas, Houston.
Yeah.
Y'all remember?
Dino, let old boy have it. Let old boy have it.
Yeah, Sikkim. You have my approval.
Get him, boy. Get him. Get him, boy. Yeah, get that stand. Get him, boy.
Have your approval, but just let him have it. The old boy is just he's just gonna be him.
Anywho's back to the conversation.
Embrace being an independent thinker. Let's see.
Yes, please.
Because but then again, what does it mean?
Grayskull.
Here's a term we should have regarding independent thinkers. a term that's been used to disavow like certain critical thoughts. No, I'm not talking
Mhm.
about CRT, but something called intellectual contagion.
Ah,
Like
interesting.
to a oppressive regime, an autocratic ruler, thoughts of democracy, thoughts of liberal ideas, thoughts of intellectual freedom, those are considered intellectual contagions. Because you goes against the doctrine they're trying to impose on the society. If you're a free thinker, a radical thinker, you get to be, they will try to label you as a radical.
Or black sheep.
No, not black sheep. You'd be thought as a radical person who is a threat to national security. You'll be charged with disrupting social harmony. Because if you're giving people ideas to think, but the problem is about being an independent thinker. Not everybody has the tools to be an independent thinker. I mean, what's they say the most dangerous thing in the world is a fool with a cause, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have somebody. So the thing about being an independent thinker is, do you have all your faculties to think? Some people don't. And when they come across certain ideas like this, it can be dangerous. That's the upside we got to consider. And some people become fanatical with the ideas like this. That's why these thoughts are sometimes called intellectual contagions, because these ideas can spread like wildfire. I mean, take the Protestant Reformation that took place, and what made it so easy to spread such knowledge was the invention of the printing press. Of course, in the case of Martin Luther, he was protected by powerful German nobility who could stand up to the Pope when they demanded he would come to to Europe, to come to the Vatican for a talk, and they said no, he can talk from where he is. So, or like when you have people who are like intellectuals who speak out about oppression in their countries, authors, writers, journalists. That's why when a regime comes to power, the first people they take out are the intellectuals, the writers, because those people have intellectual thoughts that can go against the doctrine they're trying to impose. So they call it intellectual contagion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or how about people who are people of a radical, who are of a fanatical or radical religious group? When they start spreading their word into a society, especially like a free-thinking liberal society, that in itself is a intellectual contagion. So my point is like, the thing about being an independent thinker is, are you truly competent? Because there is still accountability you have to have to yourself, and the society must have on you.
Yeah.
When you have certain thoughts, because your thoughts could have devastating results on certain people. It could be used to mislead certain individuals. That's why you need to have that's why I think the education system in certain places needs to be improved. But unfortunately, the education system is designed in a way to produce certain types of people that particular ruling class want the people to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people are so stressed out. That's why so many people are so stressed out with the way life is, like with living conditions being the way they are. A lot of people are just struggling day to day, that they don't even have time to think.
Yeah.
And they're punished from even thinking differently. Either by those within their group to say, stop, shut up, stop thinking like that, or by somebody higher up. That's why it's not easy to be an independent thinker. And then there's some people that should not be an independent thinker, because you're not built for that. You can go insane.
Yeah,
look
it's
at
only a handful. It's only a handful of people can be that. I think the masses, and you're correct, because most people, it depends on how you're built. Now, I ain't saying that's a small case, but the thing is, do you have a audience that will subscribe to that? It's not that many. This is where we get into how you go against systems. Now, anarchists, they have that independent mindset. The problem with there is what type of system it can be for independence. You know what I mean? Because that's a fair argument. It's kind of like, in a political sense, you'll look at it over here. You can't be an independent thinker when you have two party systems think similar. That's the issue. And overseas, you're correct. Yeah, totalitarianism rules, but you gotta have a charismatic leader. That's the only drawback with
charismatic or strong man,
or dynamic leader. I don't even use the term.
And they
charismatic.
always
That's
have
the
a section
word.
of supporters. There was always one section that supports them,
Yeah,
and they're incentivized. While everybody else is told that
yeah,
if you want what these things, you have to toe the line.
yeah.
And
I
maybe you may
rather,
get some trinkets.
yeah, I rather call them dynamic leaders, and here's why I say that. And that's just a charismatic. That's like a loose word for them. I will say they're dynamic because what makes them so unique, like you said, the support base is awesome. Like Stalin had one, and their biggest weakness was authoritarianism because you had the policies, the laws, and a little bit of liberalism and things like that. But totalitarian, it depends on what type of structure you have. Yeah, you can have a mix of all of them. Communism
Chile,
didn't
for
work for them.
example.
Yeah,
Take
Chile's
Chile. And they were on the right, and those in Chile, Argentina, Brazil, their dictatorships were on the right, and they were enabled by something called Operation Condor in the 70s.
Yeah,
because the U.S. wanted to stamp out communism in their backyard after Cuba.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just they had that presence that we have. But the funny thing is, these systems didn't last. But the ones that did it right, like you don't hear about the Franco guy from Spain, and I think Dre told me this. Yeah, they did it right. Everybody else just folded. They just use them as an extreme, and that's what they did. Yeah, we stomped them out, but
Franco
we made it worse.
Chose to be neutral during World War II. That's how he was able to maintain his. And then afterwards, with the Cold War, a lot of people started looking at him. You've ever heard of the Stasi in East Germany?
Yeah, yeah.
The original core of the Stasi were former Nazis who were given amnesty by the Soviets.
Yeah.
And in exchange, and they just traded in their swastikas for the Russians' Red Star or the sickle and hammer.
The sickle and hammer, gold sickle and hammer. That was a
so they switched sides, but truth is they were allowed to be themselves under a different management.
Yeah.
It was like basically it's the same company just under new management.
Yeah. Well, what happened to Soviet Union? They didn't last. A lot of those totalitarian countries, they just failed. They was into communism. That was their weakness. And the fascists came in. Corporate fascism. Our fascism was different because we use corporations. That's the funny part too. And the right that you see over here is a mix of Hitler's people, combination of a little bit of Soviets. But the weird thing is, these damn Canadians always want to be in our business, like especially on panels like Ragnarok. I'm like, why y'all tripping so much and y'all don't contribute to anything? Like,
well, they just like to be nosy like that, eh? Sorry, I know we got to be nice about it. Sorry. Sorry, I got to do just stereotypes like that. But there's some people. I don't know. I don't think you can admit on face value that person is a Canadian unless you know Canadian accents that well.
No, he talks like a typical Canadian. I don't know if he's from Toronto or Scandinavia because they have a certain accent that's like ours. I don't like them.
Scandinavia? You mean Saskatchewan?
No, Nova Scotia. My fault. Nova Scotia. Them types. They always been in our business.
His name was Scandinavian. He had a Scandinavian name, yes, because he was like using Nordic folklore. I'm like, what gives you the right to use that name? It's
Yeah, I was thinking I don't know if he's from Scotia. I had to ask him in the chat. I was like, where are you from? You sound like you from
Nova
Toronto.
Scotia is Afro-Canadian Central. Do you know that?
Yeah, but you got a lot of white slip over there in the icy part. And I forget, there's a rapper I know. What's his name? His name was Pat Stay. He's from there. That's all. Here he go with
There's
the
also
bullshit.
Newfoundland. Also,
Yeah.
by the way, French Canadians, you also find them in Nouveau Brunswick or New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. You find them in. Well, actually, I know Montreal. That's one. That's
Quebec
another
in general, because
Mhm.
that's home.
Yeah.
That's maple syrup centrum right there.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, central. I said centrum. That's
Yeah, my
the
dad told me the
Norwegian
story
word for
why
central.
they didn't want to give up that language, and they put a stand on it. You know, the British said, "Fuck it, you can have it." That's why Canada's so damn divided. That's why a lot of people don't like Canada.
They
It's
had a
divided.
referendum in '95,
Yeah,
and just by a small percentage, they remained in the union.
yeah,
I mean, even if they were independent, the thing is that the whole uncertainty. That's the problem.
yeah.
That's an intellectual contagion right there. Uncertain, the reasonable doubt and uncertainty can be used to cloud people's judgment. Fear of the difficulties, because everybody wants an easy, guaranteed change. But change is messy and rife with uncertainties.
Change is gruesome.
There's
It's very
something called growing pains, buddy. It is what it is.
gruesome.
Try passing a gallbladder stone. That kind of pain.
And
Or a
all
kidney
hell
stone for that
every
matter.
skull.
All hell Malbrosia. Of course, one of my favorite scenes from the movie Spawn was like when you had John Leguizamo as a cheerleader. Remember when the clown was a cheerleader?
Mm-hmm.
Spawny, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. Hey, go Spawny. S to the P to the A to the on. S to the P to the A on. Go Spawny. Then all of a sudden he gets dragged back to hell, and Malbrosia's just like, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah, that's that shit. Yeah, that's some good shit. But anyway, what was he talking about? Oh, right. Just but yeah. But since you brought up Montreal, I just need to like go off topic for a minute. But you ever seen a documentary called Dirty Money about financial fraud? It's a Netflix series.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard people mention it. Yeah.
One episode of season 1, they talk about the whole the whole like scam and organized crime involving maple syrup in Quebec.
Wow.
A lot of fraud.
Wow,
There was
that's
involving
right.
fraud and extortion and theft and shit. Also talking about like independent, like the battle between unions and independent maple syrup producers.
Yeah.
It was like, oh wow, is that what it is? Of course, half the folks are, this is since they're Quebecers, French Canadian. They were doing most of their convers. A lot of them were conversing in French, but they, anything with subtitles. But it comes with the territory.
Yeah, it does. It always comes with the territory, but that's what you gotta deal with. I mean, Canada always had that, and there's one guy he used to be on here, and he said that about Toronto. I said, everybody knows about Toronto. Ain't nothing special about those gangs. Ain't nothing special about those gangs. They just as bad as the ones we deal with, those Mexican gangs with the drugs and stuff, and they still getting destroyed by the Mexican gangs. It's laughable at this point. Everybody wants to be a cop now. Yeah.
I've been told about Toronto. There's this one area.
Yeah.
It's this one intersection in the Kingsview Village in North York. It's not gonna have to mention this. I don't know if I should mention the streets, but I've seen it on a map. But I've been told about that area. They told me don't show yourself out there, especially even though because most of the folks there are mostly Somali. But me being Eritrean, I can't think I'm gonna be safe there. They said just don't be down. If you find yourself in that area, get out of there ASAP.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That's a whole But
there's also also areas like in North York where a lot of Afro Caribbean folks live in. A lot of immigrants live in that areas. They're just also rough neighborhoods. I know not to show my face in there. nothing wrong. It's just that they just let me know, dude, it's not a good place to be down there.
Oh yeah,
So,
any neighborhoods like that, yeah. But like I see a lot of people that used to be in that lifestyle. They always want to be in law enforcement. I'm just scratching my face. It's like, why are they co-opting these dudes? But Canada is like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want the drug life, like dude was saying, yeah, that's y'all. But our shit is different. We get it from the Mexicans and everybody else. But what makes street gangs popular is the drugs and stuff. It ain't a drug culture. It's the same old shit. And people don't care when we just kill each other. But where y'all from, yeah, y'all have the old traditional, and people laugh at that. No one cares about that. All they do is drop a bomb in their ass, is done. But that's a violent neighborhood you talking about. Yeah, that neighborhood has a reputation, but it's gonna be, I don't want to say Armageddon wise, it won't last. They ain't gonna last if you have that type of mentality. I've seen people come and go, and they don't even know what to do. They don't even know what to do. If they came to Americans, the gangs and stuff like back, I would say about 80s and 90s, they wouldn't even last. They're lucky that they're still alive in this century and they can tolerate that. But since they're organized, I understand because everybody's different. But the street gangs here in America, I was trying to tell a boy, nah, we're barbaric. It's kind of like the barbarians. We kill each other for sport. Fuck the leadership. They went to Fed prison in Colorado.
Central America. That's nothing compared like the Latinos where they do it.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, they barbaric. They come from the military. I think El Salvador is another one. That Civil War they had in 1980, and before that, MS-13 gang came about. That's based off that gang.
Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Guatemala.
Yeah, but mostly they come from Salvador. That's where that origin that gang came from, and those people.
MS-13 and then 18th Street. Those are the two rival gangs.
Yeah, those are rivals.
I've seen a documentary.
But the MS-13, they from El Salvador. Now their history goes back to 1980, and I think when they moved to LA and they was bullied by the rivals and the Mexicans, what people forget, they had a civil war in 1980. Man, the guns, they're used to that, and then that gang is a military structured. Problem with that gang is they had too much bullshit problems in DC with the Brenda Paz, really fucked them up. I seen that on Gangland, and then also seen the one that they really fucked them up was the drug shit, and that's what set them back. I see them a lot in Tennessee, but I don't mess with them. I just let them be because I know the difference between them and the Mexican based off their culture.
They hate Mexicans. They hate them. Central Americans hate Mexicans. First of all,
they always have. They always have. Yeah.
Hondurans are also
that prison gang shit. If I ever meet one of them, I tell them, I say, man, why y'all wearing that? I know y'all hate them in prison. And I think one of them told me that was associated with them. They said they do. They just want them gone. Quiet as kept. If it was an anarchy, they would love to get rid of that prison Mexican gang. Quiet as kept. Because they ain't going to last. And I laugh every time when our people go to prison, white folks go to prison, they hate each other. But what's so funny? In anarchy, it's no holds barred. They don't even last. That's the sad part. We kill each other and be absorbed. Like B just said, yeah, but y'all ain't gonna last. Like nobody's not gonna take you gang seriously. It's just like when tech comes, who you gonna side with? That's the fucked up thing about it. And I'm laughing because everybody wants to be police so bad and they'll tell on each other. Like, he got the drugs. Give me the uniform. I'll remove my damn tattoos. Okay.
No. You're trying to ghost. You're trying to ghost. Because what was it? Remember there was like that, what was that memo the FBI put out to all law enforcement warning them about white supremacists infiltrating their ranks?
Oh, that's different. But I'm talking about the actual black gangs. No, they tell and work for the police. No, our law enforcement ain't shit. I'm talking about the feds. They don't give a fuck about us like that. I mean, if they did like a racial group, yeah, you can say that. But nah, they use us to get rid of guys like Larry Hoover and types. They use them a lot. They in our military. The sad part, and I think Dre said this, the problem with that is they would trust the derelict Negroes more than these other races. Quiet as kept. Because if the Mexicans keep doing the dumb shit or whoever they're done. I just don't take them seriously long term. And they notice, and I've noticed them too, dropping their colors and say, okay, what you going to do outside of the game? And the police and the feds put that pressure on what type of jobs you want. Next thing you know, if the military don't work out, here's law enforcement for you. They always get a slap on the wrist. And ain't like the Klan. The Klan abused it. Here's what they fucked up at. We're right wing. We love Trump. And there you are. The Jan 6. Yeah. That's what hurt them. But see, us, we're like, oh, you're not racial, but you're weak, but you love drugs. Here you go. And then that's the problem. Everybody loves drugs. And I see that people that used to be in law enforcement love that. One thing I respect about Charles, he's honest. He never did none of the things besides a cigar and alcohol.
He
That's cool.
He's
decent.
stayed out of that
He's in the
shit. He was a
fraternity.
decent.
Yeah.
Stays.
He's a
Not to
fraternity
mention he
guy.
comes
So I
from
respect him. Yeah.
he comes from a strong military family as well. So he knew to stay out of that shit.
That's why I always give him a pass because I understand his upbringing, where he's from. Yeah, Baltimore is a little different, but the other police in the U.S., nah, they full of shit. They always use former street guys. A lot of people try to say, why they snitch? Well, you gotta understand that it's about money. That street shit, when you're like, I hate to say this, you're like 8 to 18 years old, it's cool, right? It's exciting. It's cool. You have little cute little guns, little colors, and beat up boys on it. When you get to be like 20, I'll say it like this: 18 from 24 and above, that shit weighs on you. When you have kids, it's over. And what are you gonna do outside? How are you gonna get rid of your
you get in, you don't get out with a lot of them.
Yeah,
it's blood.
And the funny thing is, if the gang dies up and gets indicted, do you want to go to Fed prison? They say, oh hell no. Next thing you know, they start snitching. They get protection. Next thing you know, the feds use them as bait. They use them in the military, for example, and they recruit. That's why I don't trust the law enforcement. Our feds ain't shit. They dirty like that. They will take down a gang that they've allowed to wreak havoc, just like to urban terrorists. Like, I just don't take these street gangs seriously, and they'll snitch at a drop of a dime, and they didn't want to be a cop so bad. All right, why you want to be a fed so bad? I asked one. I was like, well, I just want to be. Well, you got to give up that lifestyle. You know what I mean? They already got the dossiers on you.
Paid informants.
There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah,
informants.
Most of your informants are police, man. That's why you can't trust a street dude and then be online on panels a lot. And I tell people 9 out of 10, y'all tell on yourselves when you flash those guns. You know that, right? Because the feds can use you as bait. This is why you got guys like Saru and Dre putting dossiers on you, man. Y'all gotta stop.
That's why
you gotta stop gang banging. I tell people, you gotta stop gang banging. You gotta stop the street shit. It's just like Gully TV said, that shit ain't gonna work. Over time, you ain't got no content. You keep talking about prison shit, right? When you get out, where's your education? And that's another thing too. And they don't want to hear that. This is why I understand Green Gorilla and BGS kind of
a hard head makes for a soft ass, man. What do you expect?
Man, they just keep on going. I just leave them alone because what I've noticed on panels to tell people, well, you do got PhDs try to help guys like that. You know that, right? And the military and the police, right? And the feds. That's why I don't trip off Americans' law enforcement. It is going to be what it is. That's why Charles's law enforcement is difficult, because you can't be that. Not in Baltimore. He's right. Yeah, it's very difficult where he's from, but other places is easy. That's why you got a lot of street gangs and racists join together to be corrupt, killing guys like George Floyd and shit. And that's not going to stop just because that's one black man. Imagine that was a black guy putting the foot on your neck, and if you're black, think about it. See, people ain't looking at that.
That's a scary thought right there.
In my case, I was thinking about what SKC
it'd be worse.
Yeah.
In my case, it'd be worse. Like, say if it's somebody from a rival tribe, and he knows I'm of this tribe or this ethnicity or this nationality, and he does that to me.
Yeah.
The blowback will be even harsh. Yeah. You will see tit for tat revenge killings or something like that.
Yeah,
because they don't care, cop or otherwise. We will try to come for you or try to come for your family one way or another for you taking blood for blood.
You got people like that, but people gotta understand that death is the all that's a continuation. If you do make some changes, people are gonna abuse that. Like, when are we gonna understand that the color shit's gonna die off one day, and then you have that situation? See, law enforcement is still corporate king, man. It's just crazy. Like,
they are the biggest fraternity, but I will also say that you have a lot of paid informants who are hired to infiltrate and just instigate groups. So you have some type of a federal entrapment, like what happened in Michigan when this group tried to, try to kidnap the governor. Same thing they tried to do in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if you might remember the movie Black Judas and the Messiah.
Yeah.
Fred Hampton thing. Fred Hampton. The man who was the informant, I'm sure he took his own life after that. Think about that. He took his own life.
Yeah.
Because of what he did.
Now,
and Lakeith Stanfield, he did great. He did great as during that portrayal of him. I'll give him that. Daniel Kaluuya, shouts out to that brother. But what I want to say was you cannot live like that. There are people I know. There's some people I know that know some people who've been in that life.
Yeah.
Well, who've been like doing dirt, but eventually, and this is not in the States. This is like in the Middle East and shit. A lot of them eventually went straight and did something, and they took that money and just cleaned it up and just did it and just went legit because they knew they couldn't they couldn't last for long in that.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them go in that shit hoping because they know the danger. Because the chances, the consequences you get caught are far more severe. So yeah, they'll do that, but like eventually they just take the money and just invest it in like something, in a small business or something like that, like industrial business, like corner store, whatnot. And they clean their money that way because they don't want no trouble because they know they can't be trapped in that life forever. Others, they become religious fanatics and whatnot, and they lose their shit that way. I'm like, I remember meeting some cats in a situation like that once, and I'm like, I love them, they're my dudes and everything, but they understood like, I can't get down with that, fam. They said, I hear you. And they just wanted to make sure that I just let them know, man, make sure you do not get me caught up in this shit. You know how it happens. I said, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Because but I understand why they had to do it. They did what they had to do in order to survive. It's not easy. But you don't have to worry about it. But informants, you got to worry about informants. You got to worry about undercovers and shit like that. And that's why it's like, I'm glad, like my father taught me to stay away from that shit. I was disciplined to stay out of that shit. I don't drink or smoke because I already seen the dangers of that, what that shit does. I mean, you ever seen when you see your friends get wasted, you realize, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And that's that intellectual. Good night, Captain. I remember with me, it was like one of my friends, they're all drinking, and one of them, a bunch of them just give me a hard time because I wouldn't drink, right? Until one of them just stood up for me and said, leave him alone, man. All right, if you ain't drinking, ain't drinking.
Yeah.
And one cat just looked at me and said, man, how come you don't drink? I just looked at him and said, even though we came here on foot, somebody still got to be the designated driver.
Right.
And that's that independent thinking.
Yeah, it is.
Some cats just gave me my props for that shit. But I'm like, but I just know not to do that shit. Or I have certain thoughts about when, coming back to like independent thinker. When you just when people think you crazy or think you weird, sometimes they won't fuck with you. But I've met other people who are highly intelligent people. I've loved having honest conversations about, but we had to be very careful. But like I said, like living in in a autocratic state, you had to be careful what you said with whom, or what conversation you had with somebody, because somebody just might be an informant trying to set you up for some shit. And next thing, and you don't want that certain knock on the front door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to be very careful who I was around. Even online, it was not safe because you never know if because they're always going to be monitoring the online system. They always have their cybersecurity teams, monitoring what's being said or what's being mentioned online. That's why they have that need for control of everything, control of information.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the intellectuals, I say, are prisoners of conscience. You've had people who've been killed for having free thought, either by
all
the
the time.
regimes or by extremist groups, just for expressing a certain thought. And then somebody from the fringe groups decides to attack them and try to claim they did so in the name of their views or beliefs, and call those people disingenuous humans, either unpatriots, traitors, or unbelievers, whatever the term of the day is.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, what's your take on some of this stuff and the difficulties of being an intellectual, independent thinker?
Well, it's very difficult. Like, I mean, you could be free. It depends on certain states you live in the South, but all the time you can't go anywhere as much. I mean, you got to go where people is like-minded like you. It's only a handful. But online you can get away with it, but offline it's a certain structure. In northern states, I've noticed you can, like New York, they allow that. They're so protective. And Georgia's kind of damn near almost like that. But the rest of the South, no. Where I originally from, no, that you can get challenged all the time. But it's a change. You know, this is the only country you can have free thought and things like that. Now, there's certain countries that's trying to be like that. Now, I've seen some U.S. influence don't ruin everything. I don't like the policies, but they give them that free thought. But I don't like the way, if it's too liberal, too extreme, that's when you have all these wild, weird protests and rubber bullets and shit like that. I'm like, no. That you gotta have a right and balance. I like balance. I don't like just being one-sided. That's another problem. You know, then it gets too extreme and there you are. You go right back to totalitarianism. That I had something I've learned when I did that stream, and I understand something. Even if you get rid of it, no matter what form, somebody's gonna be dynamic about it, you know. And if you're built like that, there you are. And especially in America too, because we're one of those weird countries. We have it, and I told this to Rogus. The only problem is we don't have dynamic leaders. Nobody wants to be a leader. You got to be built for that. You have to actually do some harm. You know, see the streets shit, that's base level. See that shit the feds do, that's base level urban terrorists. They don't respect them. Now, if you have a military training and a combination, they're thinking, oh, you're dangerous. You're a dangerous man. But it's the thing, they got to reform you. They have to break you down. I won't say no torturing, but it's a small torture. But the thing is, they're trying to groom you into them. So, but you got some. I wish we didn't train no damn terrorists, but you got them all the time. You got them in urban gangs of the country.
There's some people who should not be taught those things, however, especially those who are not of sound mind, because, like I said, there's nothing more dangerous than a fool with a cause. How about somebody who's a complete he's a complete basket case, and he has these certain skills. That's the recipe for disaster.
Yeah. And you see him in your CIA courts in the White House and things like that. And they said they're okay with it. He's a patriot. He respect doesn't say it. I was like, yeah, but you know his track record and history, his research on him, his family, his head issues. What about his life? What about his childhood? That's all. We ain't gonna forget about it. But in the South, it's so
moral waiver. Moral waiver.
Yeah.
I remember watching a documentary regarding Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and how they were using backdoor ways of removing alphabet folks within the armed forces. And then they replaced them with people of such certain questionable characteristics and questionable records under the moral waiver. And next thing you know, you find out some of these folks end up being cannon fodder during Iran and Iraq.
Oh, yeah.
Like what they say, people with low intelligence or average intelligence, a lot of them end up being cannon fodder.
Yeah.
In certain wars. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is why you got to make sure you know what you're doing when you enlist in this. I mean,
and here's the thing, how they look at it. They say, well, I'm getting money from the government. Yeah, in the military, but
at what
you might
price?
not come back.
At what cost?
And I tell them, like, you won't come back to your own hood. I tell them that. Look, You go over there, all right, keep on. You know, and have your own little meals, and if you get stationed, that's good. But
First and 15th, guaranteed
yeah,
check, like they say, but is that it?
that's not guaranteed if you get blown away. I'm just saying, some people can hit you with the right surgical submission. You out of there. You know, drones, and they got weapons that can zap you away, man. This ain't the World War II days. You come back, you get a no. You got to fight
Man,
drones
you
that can hit
got
you
people
on
who improvised
this. Yeah,
with their communications with weapons, you know,
yeah,
like, you know, like what was it? Like one thing like the Iraq War, it's like Vietnam because people are starting seeing like loved ones getting taken out by IEDs and shit like that.
mm-hmm.
And the independent thinkers, a lot of them got drowned out and silenced. Because, you know, one way to silence them was like just asking the question, do you support the troops?
Yeah.
You don't you support the troops? I remember Patrice O'Neill said, it's not the troops I have a problem with, it's the leadership. Because they're the ones responsible for where the troops end up. So my problem is it's not that I don't support the troops. I don't support the leadership. But some people just didn't want to listen. You know, it's like, if you did not, what was it? Somebody said just because, that's populism when you think about it.
Yeah.
And populism is just usually based on public sentiment or what's popular at the time, based on not on an idea, but that's like emotionally charged. Because we all connect emotionally more than we do intellectually. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if somebody thinks outside the box, everybody looks at them like something wrong with you, and some people might get violent because they think you're just being a coward or you're thinking for the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole either you're with us or you're against us trope.
Yeah.
So you can't have. So being an independent thinker, sometimes there's a price to pay for it. And you get ostracized or you get labeled certain things. And like we said about like nobody wants to be a leader like the civil rights because they saw what happened to Malcolm and Martin, man. Or other leaders, some of them end up getting killed. So
and what it is,
you scared
they label you as a terrorist.
It's like what happened to Malcolm and Martin and everything. When you think about it, that's like another way. It's like a 20th century form of buck breaking.
Yeah.
Because remember what happened to the slaves when when a slave was buck broken, and they endured subject to buck breaking. They had all the male slaves, little boys, up in the front of the crowds to witness this.
Yeah.
Because as much as you were traumatizing the black men in question, black boys in particular were traumatized at the sight of that shit, especially if the person that was subject to buck breaking was related to the said children, to those boys in particular. So those boys are traumatized and scared into compliance. So a lot of them say, do you want to be a leader? I say, no, because I saw what they did to a lot of our leaders. Our leaders were assassinated or incarcerated or forced into exile. Yeah. I don't want that.
That's psychological damage. And that's that happens. And that's like, not just that's in any culture. And when I researched, I said, damn, you know how they do.
You get made an example.
Yeah.
You get made an example.
And that's just conquest of humans. It took me a minute when I got older and I realized, that's just part of the nature of man, people, especially us. I mean, black man has done a lot of damage. I mean, we did some good and did a lot of bad. Yeah. Yeah. But over here, it's like, I'm not surprised. I mean, the way this country's founded, bloodshed, combination of slavery, conquest by the Buccaneers, having slavery too. People forget the Derby's Dose thing. I forget that story was told on Star. The shock jock, he broke it down. He said, they don't talk about that. Of course they ain't gonna talk about it, because in the Caribbean, that's what it was. And if you study the Buccaneer stories, they had slaves before Britain and everything else. And remember, they destroyed those Spanish shit. That's why Spain wasn't shit. Like I tell people, Spain had its prominence, but they was getting weakened by them damn Buccaneers. That's what caused everything. That's why Britain was sitting back and waiting, them fall, and then France tried to save them. That didn't work. Then you got your Haitian Revolution. That was like a 2-year stretch, and Saruyan broke it down. That was that same timeline. Yep. And France played them, put them back to slavery, and next thing you know, there goes the slave revolts, and there you are. And then, like you said, buck breaking. That was a combination of each era, even the 19th century. That right there goes back to the ancient times when people used to do that in the Mesopotamia areas, barbaric torture and all that stuff. Like that stuff ain't gone away. I mean, that's still practiced.
Or they take male slaves and turn them into eunuchs.
Yeah. Let's go on, TC Killer, Tyrone Church. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Are we gonna have church?
Appreciate it. Yeah.
We got church tonight.
Yeah, he's always regular here. But yeah. Woo! It's been 3 hours. Ooh, this is good.
Might as well call this a night.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Yeah, this is the story I already did.
I gotta get out of here. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I need to get some sleep.
Yeah,
I ain't got shit to do. I need to like realign my priorities and try to get my sleeping pattern back on where it needs to be.
Yeah, I'll be sleeping the next 2 hours, but I'm gonna stay up a little bit, see what's going on YouTube, and then I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna shut this down. This is the end of
Oni. Is he there?
Yeah. Nah, he's gone.
Oh, is he gone? Oh, sorry. Yeah,
he's got to go to sleep. Yeah, because he's got to work.
We all gotta
plantation. Yeah.
I got work in the morning. What was it? Somebody said like, I don't know about y'all, but a lot of us got work in the morning.
Yeah, he said in the AM, and he told me on the message. I said, yeah.
And you gotta let you gotta let people know it's my goddamn house. I pay the bill. I pay the bills in this bitch.
Right.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So if you, oh man, just like man. Like when your father looks at you and said, "This is my house, boy."
My old boy. I remember him saying that. Yeah.
Well, actually, mine says, "I told you, this is my house. Mm-hmm. This is my house." You understand? Exactly. When you leave, but then again, where I come from, traditionally, you don't leave home until the day you get married. Yeah. Well, most societies, it's like that. You don't leave home till you get married. But yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like me. I'm not married. Thankfully, that's a scary thought. Being married.
Yeah. Oh, it's scary for everybody. Yeah.
I wanted to ask this question about the whole thing about those who want to have relationships. Are you even ready for that shit? Because if we want to talk about independent thinkers, Patrice O'Neal comes to mind. I know. Yeah. I bring it up. There's something I remember he talked about. It was from the Lost Tape, as it's called. No, it's called. The album's called Untitled. You can't find it. You can't find the LP versions, the EP versions on Spotify. But there's an LP version, and in there he was talking about like, ladies, and this is how he said, ladies, have you ever, before you get married, ask your man, have you womanized before? And if he looks at you and says, what do you mean? You should look and say, have you treated a lot of women poorly? Have you got it on with some chick in the stall of a men's bathroom? Have you had some skank suck your dick behind a trash bag? Have you done all that shit? And if the answer is no, don't marry him. He needs to womanize in order to be faithful. Or as most people say, sow their wild oats.
Yeah.
So if you don't get that shit out your system, and if you don't have the right mindset and realize maybe I'm not ready for this shit, I need to handle all that mess out, get all that mess out of my system before I do.
Yeah. That's why I'm not get married. The last relationship I had, that was years ago. That was like decades ago. My last girl, and it went bad. It was like a 6-month. After that, I kind of died. I kind of killed that shit years ago. I was done with that like decades ago. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was young then. I was in my 20s. And that's a whole nother spiel on that.
But that independent
Um,
thinker was like when he explained to women how men are better than women. And he said, like, besides the pussy and able to conquer the world with it, everything else about you guys is bad. The period, the mood swings, the giving birth. You're just
Mhm.
miserable. Guys, we are, a certain way. Yes, it may come off as sexy, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's like, that was his independent way of thinking.
Yeah.
And there's some people who are independent thinkers, but just that they were misunderstood.
Yeah.
Or somebody once said, great thinkers are not appreciated in their lifetime. They're appreciated later on in life, long after they're
That's
gone.
usually
for
what
what
it
they
is.
contributed.
Yeah. That's just part of human nature, common human nature. They think like that. Yeah, they get appreciated where they gone. Patrice was one of them. I mean, I've seen his stuff. I wasn't into him as much, but I understand he was funny as hell. Like I realized his comedy was
There were other cats
excellent.
were funny as hell, but if you listen to like when they have conversations and whatnot, I realize,
Yeah.
there's something woke me. That saved my life. I will tell you, that saved my life.
Yeah.
Because I was like in a real bad spot, and that just took me into like an altered state, because it just took my mind off whatever shit I was going through at the time, and it stopped me from suicidal ideation and shit, and it made me think. It gave my mind a workout. Not to mention some of the aspects of like the stuff they were discussing, whether it was on O&A or when he had his own show, it was short lived.
Yeah.
Or any interviews he did. It was just listening to him talking about certain issues really was insightful. Like, he owned up to the fact that he was a professional bridge burner. But I remember there was a talk about black leaders, and he said, first of all, they're not our leaders. Current crop, that is. He said, they're not our leaders. We didn't choose them. White people chose them for us and expect us to accept them.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's a term that you might want to look up after the stream. It's called astroturfing.
Astroturfing? Okay.
Astroturfing. If you know what a grassroots movement is, then you will learn. Then you can understand what astroturfing is and
Okay.
how it works.
You
want to talk about? You want to talk about intellectual co-opting? Since we're talking about independent thinkers, unfortunately, a lot of them can get co-opted.
Oh yeah, true. They do get co-opted,
or their ideas get co-opted, or their ideas get co-opted.
Yeah,
and bastardized.
Yeah, I might look at that term up. Yeah, I think I've heard of it, but I might go in depth on searching that. Yeah, because it's been a while since I've been reading them stuffs. Yeah.
So that's my last tidbit for you, man. It's been a lot of fun, man. Thanks for having me over, man. You have a good week.
All right, you too.
Later.
All right, peace. Yeah, folks, this is the Independent Thinking Series number 6. Appreciate for the Wolf, aka known as Nema, known as the Chaos Guy. Also, the Captain Oni Ghost. All hail Gray Skull. Serve Gray Skull in the building. TC Killer. Everybody else came in the building. Appreciate y'all. Third Warlord Colombian. Chaos. Hedgie, known as Gino Richardson. The Dark Knight. The Dark One. The Dark Lords. Yes, the Villain Sphere is out. Ladies and gents, enhanced utility, everybody. Shonda, appreciate you coming through. Jay Shine himself, the powerful peace. Shakanulu, Lord of Mactau. Appreciate y'all coming through, man. Like, appreciate y'all, the ladies and gents. Yes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for coming through. Vonda, Shar, everybody. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Yeah, this has been a good night, and I'm going to end on a good note. So with that, I will say peace to y'all. Like I said, I'm going to end it real quick. Okay, let me get these bots because they everywhere. Always happen at nighttime, but Spam bops. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say, all hail Grayskull. Peace.